tribulations, you have prevailed. The spirit is unbreakable, never derailing. With a rich heritage and culture and grace, Liberia, you are the land we embrace.
You are welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia.
Good evening, a beautiful Friday evening, the 18th of April 2025. We are here in full to give you the information. This is the Bottom Line Liberia, and indeed you are welcome. If this is the first time joining us, we like to say welcome and make this place your home. Tonight is going to be a full house, and hopefully and assuredly we're going to have a guest, and together we'll be all discussing. We're all Liberians on this platform, so everything we talk will be Liberian, and probably we'll cross border a little bit because, like we always say, Liberia is a member of the Committee of Nations. So whatever affects any country in the world affects us indirectly, and so we got to always keep our people informed. So let me say welcome to my colleagues, Paul, the Lord, Chirople in the UK, and Francis Mensah, the town chief. I'm the only person we get no title. We get the Lord and the town chief from Sweden. So let me say welcome to you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, my friend.
Afro-Viking. So what happened to the Afro-Viking?
I'm still a Viking. Well, honestly, I'm not Viking.
Welcome, guys. Good evening. It's good to be back here for another edition of the Bottom Line. Yeah, so today the 18th of April, my man, the year already in. Pretty soon we'll be talking about 2026. Can we imagine how time flies?
My man, making my heart come back.
Yeah. By almost end. By the time you bop your out, we'll be talking about right after summer in Europe, then where else? That Christmas we're talking about, and then New Year comes through. So time does not wait for me. Francis, how are you, my dear brother?
Well, I'm doing great, man. Doing very good. It's exciting to be. I'm excited to be here this evening. Discuss issues surrounding our country. So yeah, we are here. And how are you guys doing?
Well, today I'm happy to be among the living and to also be in paradise. And also today, for the Christian, today was the day that Jesus Christ was put on the cross. So it's a sad day for Christian. Then Sunday will be a happy day for them. So yeah, it's good to be in paradise, guys.
Well, for me, I'm happy to be here, and sorry that I was not on the last edition of the show. I don't know whether it was held, but I was out. And like Francis said, we're happy to be among the living because traveling from one place to another is also risky. But we have to go. So we're happy to be back home and back on the show. And for those of you who will be joining us for the very, very first time tonight, we want to say welcome. This is the Bottom Line Liberia discussions. And maybe somebody will be wondering why we call ourselves the Bottom Line Liberia. That's a nomenclature we chose some 5 years ago. Paul, it's been 5 years almost, right?
Yeah.
So we sat down for long. We brainstormed. What would be the name of the platform? We brainstormed. We came out different names, and somebody just said passively, maybe the Bottom Line Liberia, and then we say, okay, yeah, because we discussed the issues. Anyway, start from the top to the bottom, or from the bottom to the top. So that's why we call ourselves the Bottom Line Liberia. And everything we do, the bottom line is about Liberia. And so if you wonder why this platform is called the Bottom Line Liberia, and we get other discussions there to show that whatever we discuss here or whatever we do here is all about discussion. So you are welcome. This is where we discuss the issues from top to bottom or from bottom to top, anywhere you take it. And we do it with respect. So you are welcome to comment. You can make your comment in the comment box. Only thing, respect our guests or respect we the presenters, and we'll also respect you, our our viewers. So it's a teamwork. So I'm happy to be here, guys. And like we said, we're going to have a guest. We are waiting him. The moment he comes, we'll be moving.
The guest is in the back.
Okay. Yes. Let me see.
No, not yet. Not yet.
I don't think so.
You need to check that link because he's not in studio here.
Yeah, he's not. He comes. We'll have a drop down line. But the drop down is not there. But it's technical thing. He can go off and come in again, and probably then we'll find him. But guys, while we await the guest, I want to ask this question: what's on our minds? What's on your mind, Paul? What's on your mind, Francis? And what's on my mind?
Well, while Francis contacting the guest, now what on my mind is this situation in Liberia, Nima County, the election that is due to be here on Tuesday. That is what on my mind. And the way politics are played in Liberia is something that is concerning. It's not about policy, but it's about tribal, traditional, ethnic, because you can be qualified because of this man come from this tribal group, and based on that tribalism, people may elect you. And we have leaders like that in Liberia for years. You see, our current president, because of tribal line, he became vice president, and today he's president. We have our vice president based on tribal line. He became vice president. Now they push it for another tribal thing in Nima County. It's not based on competence, but based on what tribe I come from, and based on that tribe, the tribe that have the population, let's play the tribal card. That is concerning. That's what's on my mind. And I think it's wrong. Liberia should now start doing something different based on policy than based on tribes. Because if it's tribe, then you can go and marry somebody from Lofa County, live there, and say, oh, the man get Lofa link. You can become vice president. At the end of the day, you become president. That's what on my mind. That's what concerning. Francis, what say you? If you're on the line, you might be contacting the guest. So, Linford, what's on your mind too?
Well, what's on my mind? That's a good question. It's a lot of things on my mind. Our viewers just stay there. We're trying to see if we can connect to our guests. We're doing everything possible in the background. But at the same time, we'll be talking. What's on my mind is the same thing like the Nima County thing, because that's the main thing that's trending politically right now in Liberia. Like you rightly said, the people try to tribalize politics nowadays, especially in Liberia. We know, yes, somebody will argue and say, well, Liberians, we are tribal people. We are tribal people. But while it is true that we are tribal people, it is also true that we cannot tribalize everything, especially politics, because then we go back to the same thing that led to the war. Remember that, if I was elected to any position based on my tribal lineage, okay, and then automatically it's going to be like my tribal people who will be backing me to promote me. And when I get there, what happens? The same people will come to me and say, oh, we put you there, so we need job. And we saw this thing playing clearly with Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson, just in recent years, Prince Johnson and the CDC, where Prince Johnson always demanded things for his tribal people, because according to him, they the one did a hard job for him. They the one brought the voted presidents to power. So we saw it, and it's difficult to just get rid of the tribal politics, but there is a way to do it, and to make it look good. Actually, there's a way because we are tribal people. Like I said, you can't do away with tribalism in Liberia. Okay, but there's a way to make it look good. And tribalism is not only about you and the person coming directly from the same tribe, it could be from the same country. So especially when you're having election in a county and people try to make it like you want to divide the county on I'll call that one sectionalism. Like, okay, I can't every county, I don't know about Maryland county that you come from, Paul, but every county got at least one or two. First, check your messenger. Every country in Liberia got at least one or two tribes, dominant tribal groups, and other people can go and settle there. Like, I come from Pong County, I can decide I go settle in Sano, okay, and upon children and there, we live there. So what are we? We from Pong County, but where you live at your home, brother. So especially country like Liberia, I mean like Nima that got 3 to 4 tribes. You can't tribalize anything. That means you're dividing a group. Because one group will say, oh, these people don't respect us, so we got to do our own thing. We'll go our own. And that can affect people a lot. So you were right about the travel thing. And the other thing also catching my mind is when the Liberian National Police invited Prophet Key for allegedly frauding voter car. Okay. And that was good because any fraud, especially, like forgery, it's a dangerous crime.
So, Flo, let me see because Francis I think the guest is struggling to get on. I'll be in the background. Let me talk to Francis. Go on.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So, like I was saying, trying to invite Prophet Key or inviting Prophet Key and seizing an opportunity to incarcerate him. That was good. I got nothing. I did a whole show on this. I did a podcast on this. I'm not against that. I'm not against incarcerating Prophet Key or any other person for that matter. But there are people who have done serious things, who have done serious forgery, plagiarism, and all this kind of thing. And they will stay gathered in government circles, even in big position. We got a Duopu, who got all the tinted records on him. Okay, he openly stood in the line to graduate from the University of Liberia among the graduates when he was not qualified. Such a man, you got him as a director or inspector general of commerce. Can you imagine a fraudulent man like that? You got him as commerce inspector. So do you know how many companies or government taxes this guy has compromised because he's corrupt? This is a man who again, no crime is lesser, or all crimes are not equal, in fact, given the gravity. But this is a man who openly, not even in secret, the guy was brave enough to go wear gun to stand to graduate from the nation's highest institution of learning. Like that stupid people he's dealing with. And the whole country, you just get it, go stay on the line. Yeah? And you got him as commerce inspector, and he compromising government taxes. Then you got one Prophet Key who is nominal. Prophet Key, besides abusing people's mother, what does he do? He does not affect the government in any way. His activity cannot affect the government in any way. It cannot affect the lives of the Liberian people, except few individuals. Now, that kind of man, because you have voter fraud. Even in the going election, there were thousands of votes that were nullified that became bad votes. Okay, because they were fraudulent. The cards were fraudulent, or they were not registered, so they nullified that vote. So you take one man who is just insignificant to the whole process, you grab him, but you got somebody who is a criminal, a born criminal, with all the tinted record, you take him, you put him to commerce as inspector, he's going scot-free. When he openly defied the whole constitution of Liberia by going to stay on the line at the University of Liberia to graduate, when people saw him before they identified him. So those are a few things on my mind.
Right. I know before Francis come in, Linford, the country called Liberia, for some reason, since the war, after the war, it seems that if you are criminal, you seem to be very popular in Liberia than if you have a clean hand. Have you realized that? Because
more than that, brother, I know.
something notorious about you make the people to gravitate towards you. But if you come like Mr. Good, let's go by the holy book, then no, you're not the kind of person. So that's the Liberia we're looking at. So if you see people that Prophet Key can be somebody in Liberia that they must call upon because they won't vote, because he abused people, mothers, and young people follow him. Because mother cause in Liberia now is just something like you drinking tea. People have no respect for anyone. Because in the old days, you remember when we were kids, when we got on the coastal bus, even you see a 2-year-old girl standing as old as you are, you have to wake up and let her sit. That kind of respect is no longer there in Liberia. Because how on earth somebody who is a mother abuser, they will heal that person to go run campaign. And what the guy did, he added more flame to the situation. He opened an old wound that bringing the Mandingos into the picture that have nothing to do with this race. They are all Nimbadians. But because you have the CMC chairperson who both Mano and Mandingo, you have to link into land issue that if you vote these people, he will take land. These are things that they discuss and they using it to go for the tribal people because we are the Geo people. This is our time, and I will play or play later on when Francis and the guests are back on. I mean, when the guest comes onto the show. So the first president, he said he's a tribalist because he brought a division in, and he mentioned in one of his how they call it speech that he gave. Either went to my house and then she was campaigning, advocating for a minor person. Now this is a Geo people time. So me, the Geo may not competent to be there because you have to go. So what kind of country is that? I mean, county is that? Because the travel thing it play mostly between two counties that are observed in Liberia. You see, Lofa County and Nima County. For some reason, those two counties they play the travel card well. So I don't know, but what your take before I see our guest is getting on slowly. Talk to us and let's recognize a few people before we conclude, my brother.
Yeah, we recognize a few people, but you talk about both Nima and Lofa County, and you see those are next to Bon County. I think those are the two counties that got several different groups. In Nima, you got the Mano, the Gio, the B, the Crown, and I think some Mandingo. Okay, at least 5 recognized groups. Okay, then in Lofa, you got the Bane, the Mene, the Kisi, the Loma, and the Mandingo as well. Another group of 5. So where you got a cluster of the cluster of tribes, there will always be the tribal card because somebody want to be tribally dominant. Somebody want to prove that his tribe is a dominant tribe. So you will always have the. But like I said, if you listen to me carefully, I said there's a way to do it that it will look good. Okay, there's a way to do it that it will look good. How you do it that it will look good, it depends on how you do it. But there is a way that you will not publicly come out and try to look down on the other tribe because all of you when the crime people, I mean, I don't want to go back, but when they walking and the crime people said that Nima people were against them when they entered Nima County, when they were shooting, the police did not look for Geo people or Mano people. The police were going at anybody. So Loma people, I mean, even though you're Loma man and you were working in Nima and the war entered there and the AFS soldiers entered there a lot of time and the shooting, you might be caught. The same way when I mean, let's call spade or spade. When you in a country with a group of people, different group of people, you are all one. Because
Exactly.
you live in the UK. You okay? If anything happened to Great Britain today, you think they will say no, for that Liberian man, so they think when I 30, when hunger come or famine come, anything that happened there. In fact, when it really let's say in the winter when the cold come in, isn't the cold can tell us, oh, the other people from Africa will not catch them? No, it will affect all of us. See, so we gotta be careful. And the travel thing here can bring tension all the time. We should learn lesson for this thing. It can bring tension all the time.
Yeah, live for you, right? Because if this thing go back, I mean, from the 80s, remember when Joe came to power, he had to look for somebody from to connect him. So he had to go local county. That's why he brought Dr. Harm over.
Yeah,
They get all the Lothian to vote for him.
yeah,
Eddie Johnson had to go back to Lofa to get
yeah.
Joseph Barker. So if and now Joseph Barker today he's president, but if Eddie was not going to get him, he wouldn't have been president.
Oh no.
You see, so
Will that be around, sir?
exactly. So they went for Jeremiah Kuhn on no condition in a serious country that Jeremiah Kuhn can even be a vice president. But based on the tribalism in Liberia, you have Jeremiah Kuhn to be president tomorrow. This is there's nothing about competency anymore in Liberia where you say let people compete. Now in Nima County, the election, let these people go to a debate. Let's listen to them and pick the best person. But no, we're not going to debate. It's based on tribal land because they give people more than the Mano and the more than the Mandingos. So let's push the Gio thing to have a Gio person.
You got one Gio. They might even know who left and right. Come on, you people, please go and start and go and find place and SATE down.
Well, that's living. So yeah, that's
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, they two people that my brother know them. My late daughter will come for 2 time. So I know 2 time very well. Again, if you know Tito 2 tell his friend here, his friend say hi to him. No, they two talking. Nima Kante people, let me tell you. Nima Kante, you are at a point in that period.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Your camera on. You put your camera on. Ah.
Huh?
Yeah,
okay,
we can
very
see
good
you.
now. We can see
You
you.
can see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. This
No,
I couldn't get it on my laptop.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, they did not the I call it technology. You can challenge us sometimes. Yeah, this name sounds very familiar. Mansfield, Duopu. We've been on this internet for a while. I remember it quite well. So
In a good way?
yeah, in a good way, yeah. not in a bad way. Like
Okay, that's good. Good to hear.
writing articles and commenting and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Paul, our guest, is here, so we can welcome him. Mr. Duopu, this is the Bottom Line Liberia Discussions. It's a Liberian platform. We all are from Liberia and we are situated in different countries. So I will let my colleagues introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves, and then you will be the last to tell us about yourself. My name is Linford Goa. I come from Pong County. Yeah, I live in Norway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Paul or Francis, I know one of Francis will introduce himself, but let's see what happens.
Francis will be the last. So
Yeah.
Mr. Dupo, is that Dupo or Dupo?
The girl with a Duopu.
Duopu.
Why bush cow?
And the name itself is a contradiction.
Okay, Mr. Duopu. It's good to see you, brother. This is the Lord Paul Cholope. I live in the United Kingdom. Here from Grand River G, but were born in Harper City. So proper Grover. And I'm living in the United Kingdom. It's good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, my name is Francis Mensa, Mr. Duopu. Yeah, so you know what's up. You know the history. So I'm from Meridian County. And a Ghana boy as well. Childhood friends and 40 years. So we know
45 years.
45
wow.
years. So
Yeah,
I've been doing this. More than that. Yeah, more than 45 years, bro. A long time. I've been doing it with kids. Anyway, welcome, bro. It's good to see you. It's been a while, and I hope that we have a very healthy discussion. We're gonna speak on a wide range of issues. Spanning the national politics and some other geopolitical issues. So, yeah, it's good having you. I mean, we would be very grateful to drink from your your wealth of knowledge. You have a huge reservoir of knowledge, so as it relates to political and social economic issues. So yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thank you guys, and happy Good Friday to all of you who maybe are Christians or not, but this is a very important day in Christendom. The day our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ took the cross for our sins. I'm a strong believer in that faith, and I'm not imposing that on anybody per se, but I'm just trying to espouse this on this very holy day in Christendom. I think I've heard the Linford Guer, on radio, maybe in Liberia, maybe ELBC or one of those stations. That was a very popular name, reporting from the rural areas, rural broadcasting, all that stuff. So Linford Guer is a very popular name for some of us who follow, current events, who are very passionate about journalism, good journalism, and public affairs. Linford Guer, your name rings a bell. I never had the opportunity to meet you, but it's such an honor to see you. I got some friends in Norway, so hopefully the day I come there, I got my man Ken Mamlo and other guys I know in Norway. So my man Tien Botu and other brothers that I know in Norway. So the day I come in those parts, I'm planning a trip, to that region, Sweden. I got family people there. So my friend Boy lives there, Boy Menza, Francis. So hopefully we'll connect. And Mr. Cholople, I've heard that name before. It's a very popular name from the southeast. I know Reverend Cholople who works with, I think, the legislature. My sister and her husband work with him at the legislature. Pastor Cholople, I don't know if you guys are connected, but also the Cholople family from were they in Yekepa? Yeah, the one that used to play basketball. And the sister,
the two brothers play.
Yeah, Cholo, and they call him Cholo. Yeah, I think the sister lives here in Minnesota. She's married to a good friend of mine. So the other connections. It's very important because the country we come from is so small. Is interconnectedness is so key in our national history. And Mr. Menza, who and I have been friends since maybe 1977. We're barely, teenagers when we met, playing marbles. We used to challenge that area. Back in the day, marbles and soccer, sports were the pastime, So it's such an honor to be in the company of you, great men. My name is Mansfield G. Moses Duopu II. I'm partly from Nimba and Sino, but I was raised by my crew mother and my crew grandmother, so I'm more kind of skilled towards that, side of the, the social pendulum. But I also have a Nimba, heritage that I'm very proud of too. So I come from both worlds, so it kind of informs my thinking about things and how I approach, my personal life, my professional life, and every interaction that, I engage with. So it's a very, I feel very honored, I say this in a very, sincere way, to be on such a platform that, the entire continental Europe, that serves the entire Europe and the rest of the world. I got a lot of people watching from back home. A lot of people wanted to, the link and stuff that I've been sending to them. I hope they are all watching. So, but, I want to thank all of you for the kind invitation you've extended me. I know we had little glitches here and there, trying to set up. I'm using my phone right now. I couldn't use my laptop for some reason. I was in studio, but I couldn't get on, but all in all, we are happy to be here, and let's get the ball rolling.
Let's get the ball rolling. It's good to have you, brother. And I can see the energy involved in you, but it's good. We'll get into the politics soon. It's good that you come from the southeast and you say you have the Geo connection as well.
Yeah, so, the Nimba range.
The Nimba range. So be looking
specifically Tabata, the most political district in Nimba.
Right. So we'll be looking at what's going to happen on Tuesday, because we're just talking about before you came onto the show.
I think I heard you guys talking about it.
Yeah, what people don't look at the competency of a person, but it have to be on a particular tribe. So we'll dive into it. But before we get into politics, we just want to take a quick commercial break, and then Linford, who you know, he been on radio, you heard that name for truth. That's the name. So Linford, let me play this thing quickly, and then you take over.
Di Lorenzo, G Grace, Hems vocal, Liberian number one vocal, Liberian number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Hems Vodka, Hems Honey, Hems Bitter, and Hems Original Vodka. Hems Vodka has no hangover. That's why they say Papa drink, Mama happy. Hems Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Hems Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Hems Vodka or www.hensvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hems North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hems Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hems Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I tell you in my boy, in my blood. Every time when I stay on the block, everybody knows it. We hustle. Hems Vodka, that number one. Oh, from Liberia all around. In supermarket store and everywhere. Hems Vodka, that number one. Oh.
When we're traveling from abroad going to Liberia now, we gotta carry any bottle behind all. Well, we want to say welcome to you once again. For those of you watching us for the first time, this is the Bottom Line Liberia discussions, and like I said before, we discuss the issue either from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top, whichever way that suits you. Well, let me say welcome once again to our special guest, Mr. Mansfield Duopu. Like I said, like he said rightly, we have never met before, but we've interacted, and you were right. Prior to the war, I worked 2 years for LRCN. We have radio station Banga Vanjama as well. So people in the rural area will know my name. And then during the war, 91, we were working Habel to 93. Then later we moved to Toyota. And then we moved to Monrovia Labs in the time. But that was in the past. That's not important. So let me welcome a couple of people here. Marketplace AR, I don't know who this guy, but he's one of our ardent followers here. And also our colleague Jima Kamara is now on the show today. He's on a mission, he said. And Beatrice Triple Smith, welcome. Suske from Belgium. Oh, is it Belgium? Yeah, or Holland, one of those places. Welcome. And Sus follows us all the time. And I don't know if Joseph Allison is still here. You are welcome, Edward Zaitoe. Welcome. You know the Toe family that are big, huge family in the country. But all of you guys, let me encourage you. This is a special announcement. If you go into Toe time, that time, the people that do marry each other, that family time. So if you go there and see any woman, if she married, that means she comes from a different town. Or the husband, she's from Toe and the husband from different town. In the 3 different times, my brother-in-law, they tell you that they try to marry each other. So, they leave you now to decide. But there are so many nicest people, or probably that's the only biggest town in the heart of Nima County that I have spent some time. But I think the people of Nima, they are very hospitable. But in that particular town, the 3 different towns I was there, man, I didn't want to go back. But that's a different story. Okay, let's move further. So for those of you watching all the first time again, let me say welcome to our Bob Bataki. And you are free to leave your comment in the comment box, ask us questions. If you get any comment to make anything, be respectful to us. and will be respectful to you. Welcome, Mr. Duopu.
Thank you very much.
The very first question I'll start with. You said the name Duopu in Gio, I think is white
Bush cow.
Yeah. And then in Mano is the same thing. Duopu, Ali Mano will say Duopu, which means white bush cow. And you say it's contradicting. Tell me why is it contradicting?
Yeah, the name itself is a contradiction because there's no white bush cow. They're always black or brown. So I'm sure that name was given as maybe a sarcasm, because the Gio people are very sarcastic when it comes to naming, their children. They give all sort of names, So, from what I've heard, it was a very sarcastic, because I think some of my forebears were light-skinned, and the name was originally Duo, but to kind of, really identify the particular Duo, because Duo is a, popular name in Lower Nima too, maybe Upper Nima. So, so to distinguish one Duo from another, they will call one, I'm sure they call one of my great-great-great-grandparents who came from maybe, I don't know where, during a great migration, from Sudan or somewhere else. Maybe he was so, because my grandfather was light-skinned, my dad too, they were very light-skinned. So I'm sure that was the meaning of that name, to give that person that name Duo. Although you are Duo, but you Duopu, you're a bright Duo,
But again, I will look at it from different side, because my lineage is from Nima County, but my great I don't know how many great grandfathers settled in Bon County, and then we own a town there. So, and we're right on the border with Nima and Bon. So, right across the St. John. You take one step across the St. John, you in Nima, from the other side, you in Bon, in my town. But what I do know is we also have names like Nyati. We get so many Nyats in the town. Then the blackest one, so we call Nyati. So I want to look at it from the other side. When you say it was sarcasm, or it was very sarcastic. No, it may be that there were several duos, and they want to distinguish the duos. So they say, which duo? Oh, the Duopu. So it could be that way too,
Yeah. Not a bad sarcasm per se, but it's a good sarcasm. Just, people can be very, metaphoric and stuff like that. Traditional people, they use metaphors and all these, things we do. We study in literature. They have their own literature too, so they could use all those expressions to mean something,
Yeah,
and
so imagine you have
our families are very, very well-known family in Nimba. Because my grandfather was a member of the Liberian Frontier Force. Those are the guys who used to go effect arrest, for hot tax and other, crimes, So coming to your Bon County background, my grandfather went to arrest a guy in Sanoye. During the effect of the arrest, he saw my grandmother, who he was smitten by her. So then while you were looking at this young lady, then the guy who was being arrested, the guy said, "Why are you looking at my sister like that?" Then my granddad asked, "Is that your sister?" He said, "Yes." Then my grandfather kind of eased on the guy. And, then he said, "Well, I like her." Then the guy said, "But you need to slip in the tongue so I can talk to her." So my grandfather, because he used to kind of, hold up people in rear, tight ropes, because there were no cuffs and stuff like that. So they were taking that guy as far as Sunny College, which was the regional headquarters, for the Liberian Frontier Force. So as the story went on, while he slept in the town, my grandfather slept in the town for a whole week, making plans, and he made sure he got married to my grandma. And he was telling a story. He was calling me. He said, "Ima Gio Nima." He said, "Basse." I think Basse, you know what Basse means? Your own guru. He said, "Basse, I look at the Gopu." My grandmother's name now. He broke it. He said, "I look at the Gopu. I look at government. I tell the Gopu, I don't go for government." So he took my grandmother from Sanoye to Tabata, and then now went back to the force. you know. So every time they had little confusion and things, she'll be telling him, "Oh, I won't go back to Sanoye." He said, "There you go back, we're right, brother." Now, he said, "There you won't go back. I will go back to a rare brother. I will swear a rare." So she said, "No, don't arrest my brother," you know. So then she will come down and, you know, I mean, she never went back to Sanoye, but she always told my father and his siblings that she's from Bon Country, she's from Sanoye. You know, she always told them, say she, you know, I mean, she became Guillaume by default, you know. So that just a little family, you know.
I like that story for one reason.
Yeah.
It actually lays the basis for the discussion we're going to have tonight. You see, this is how powerful government was those days, that somebody can leave from where Nima country and go arrest somebody, where Bon country, and now let them grab back all the places. I got several stories like that, but you know, that's for different day. And it comes down to tell us about what we see today, this frame or creature that we see today we call government. It's not what it used to be. I know those messenger you're talking about, they were very powerful because one of the powerful chiefs were in my area, Ome Kenya. And those people used to come when they send them to go arrest somebody. My friend, when those people hit the town, they get out a red barrel. Some of that red barrel was some of that thing on the tablet day. When those guys hit that time, my brother, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Today, what we see now looks like a play toy. But let's go to Paul, because Paul got all the layout for what we'll be discussing. Paul, where you want us to start? You want us to start from international and then come to Liberia, or?
Well, that's a good question. I think we start international and then end with Liberia. That a lot of things are happening internationally. The world is going crazy. Russia and the Ukraine. In the Middle East, you got the Gaza situation. Then you also have America is now on Iran. Then in the Asia, you have North Korea, and then you have the Chinese and the other people. So what are we heading? This is the most interesting part. Is that after every 100 years that the world have to be destroyed? Because now it's not about peace anymore. United Nations is very silent on what is happening all around the globe. So it's something that we need to look at. America is telling
no, Paul. Let me just interject. No, United Nations is not silent, but I mean the power of the United Nations are being lukewarm. They are being kind of non-existent, because it doesn't, the power the United Nations had in the 60s and 70s, they cannot wield that kind of power. That they don't have the influence anymore. So I don't like organization is dead now. It's practically dead.
It's dead. I agree with you, because what is happening, it just show you. Then in Africa,
no. Let me. I think we'll be interacting.
We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
No, I'll not let one slip. I will not agree that the UN is there. And somebody can ask me why. The reason I was saying
that place is just a place for pump and project where people wear their good suits and go and talk. I mean, any investigation coming to flow, United Nations, United States veto, Russia veto. I mean, that's it. It's an endless cycle of vetoing.
That's what I would do here, Mr. Duopu. So it shouldn't be strange to you. You can interject anytime. But the reason I say the UN is not there, the UN is alive and kicking. But ask yourself, who controls the UN and who controls the world? Now, the UN, the headquarters is in America. Who makes all the grammar, all the confusion around the world? America. So what do you expect of the UN? So they control the UN, they fund the UN, number one. They house it. I mean, they house the UN. They select the members of the UN. So if the UN was headquartered in different countries and its powerful members from different countries, there will be a balance. But the same man who created the structure, that the same man can paint it, that the man can decide what it looks like, what it should do. So what do you expect?
Let me just chime in here for a little bit. I know both of you arguing out of.
Welcome.
Hello?
Yeah.
I mean, just chime in a little bit because one person saying the UN is dead, one person saying the UN is alive and kicking. Maybe the UN is, it's on a life support. It's not dead yet medically, and its survivability is still something to be beheld. But the one thing I would say is that the UN is as effective as its members. Especially members of the Security Council. That is the mechanism that enforces, international rule, what they call the rule-based international order. And what we've seen in the last, say, maybe 30 years, 25 to 30 years, is that upending of the rule-based international order, where nation states that created the UN were obligated to UN resolutions, were obligated to enforcing UN mandate across the board. But what we've seen over time and the emergence of ultra-nationalists in America, Europe, and other places, the rise of ultra-nationalism, we've seen this departure, from the UN's, own mandate, its statutes, the very thinking that brought the UN into being after the Second World War. We've seen a complete departure from those ideals. So most countries now are looking kind of inward, are dealing with internal grievances from their national publics, because of the access of the means and factor of production, access to, their livelihood with migration coming to Europe, and Europeans feel very uneasy about that, and the rise of what they call ultra-nationalists, neo-Nazis and other people in Europe and America too, in some sectors, in some, fragmented sector of the US population. We've seen the rise of people like Trump, Meloni from Italy, the guy from, what is this crazy guy from Romania,
Hungary.
Huh?
Hungary.
Yeah, Hungary, yes. Sorry. What's his name again? But anyway, but so the UN still has a role to play in international affairs. They're still doing some things on the humanitarian front. They're still doing some things on the human rights front and women's rights and other, about idealistic things they're still doing. But it means, the main thing of enforcing, UN resolution, enforcing Security Council resolutions, holding other nation states accountable. We see a complete departure from that international rule base, where now we, instead of having what they call a bipolar international political order, where there were the United States and its allies on one side, Russia and its allies on the other side, we have seen a multipolar political system where there are other emerging powers that are challenging the traditional, historic superpower, kind of conglomerates. So even within that polarity, even within the NATO alliance, you see some features, you see some cleavages, you see NATO countries themselves going against, fellow NATO members. So you see all these features, and political scientists, international observers and practitioners look at all these things and do this comparative analysis, in terms of how the international rule base that was established after the Second World War, that nations still will comply to UN resolutions, that there will be this enforcement mechanism, especially from big powers that have the military wherewithal, the economic wherewithal, and the legal standing, whether the very powers that enforce these rules are themselves violating these rules. So they have no moral clout. So small nations now are even contesting that legality. So the very UN now is suffering from that, the residual effect of those relationships between nation states. So I just want to add that, as we advance the discussion.
Yeah, and you're absolutely spot on, because the smaller nation now, they have no respect for UN. United States, for example, they can commit war crime. They would not go face war criminal, but they would tell other countries to do it. The same with Israel. So all of these big players, so the international law that is meant to protect is no longer there. Everybody doing their own thing. So where are we heading? That's what I want to say. Is the UN dead? Because UN being controlled by one group of people. And this is where we're heading. And now the other people you talk about, what they call the global south, they have recognized something that, wait a minute, there's an economic situation here. We can use the BRICS nation to compete with the US dollars. So where are we heading? You got North Korea on the other side now. They link with Russia, they sign an agreement that if you attack one, you attack the other. The same thing with the NATO. So where are we heading? This is the war the war is much more in a dangerous situation than ever before. In Africa, we have similar thing with Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Now they pretty soon will be in war with Algeria. So I just want to play this little thing from Algeria and Mali, then we can flow.
Let's turn to Western Africa. Tensions are peaking in the Sahel region. Algeria shot down a drone belonging to Mali's military. This happened last week. Algeria says the drone was armed and violated its airspace. Mali's military junta has denied the accusations. In response, they're accusing Algeria of sponsoring terrorist activities. Flights between the two countries have been cancelled, and joining the standoff are Mali's junta allies, Burkina Faso and Niger. They have recalled their ambassadors from Algeria. Algiers has responded in kind. It has also increased military deployments near the border with Mali. So what is the reason behind this flare-up? Our next report explains.
Africa is heating up. Tensions between two countries are pushing the Sahel region to the brink. Locked in this tussle are Algeria and Mali. It all began last week on the 1st of April. Algeria said it shot down a military drone. Algeria said the drone was armed and had violated its airspace. But the drone belonged to Mali's military and was flying along the border with Algeria. Mali has denied Algeria's claims. Mali's military says the drone was carrying out a routine flight, and that it didn't violate its neighbor's airspace. The drone was eventually recovered by Malian troops. It was found in northeastern Mali, around 9 kilometers south of the border with Algeria. The incident has left Bamako fuming. They are now demanding answers.
The Malian authorities asked the Algerian authorities to provide them with evidence of the violation of their airspace by a Malian reconnaissance drone. No satisfactory response to the Malian request has been forthcoming for 72 hours. The transitional government concludes with absolute certainty that the Malian Armed Security Forces drone was destroyed as a result of premeditated hostile action by the Algerian regime.
The shooting down of the drone has led to a major standoff. Mali and Algeria have closed down their airspaces to each other. Now other nations are joining in and taking sides. Bamako's allies have responded. The juntas of Burkina Faso and Niger are backing Mali. The three countries share close relations. They left the ECOWAS grouping and formed their own bloc last year. It is called the Alliance of the Sahel States, and now Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger back each other on international issues. They have now recalled their ambassadors from Algeria, and people in Mali are supporting this move.
We used to believe that Algeria stood by Mali, but lately, what we've been hearing really hasn't made us comfortable. So the recall of the ambassadors, I'm in favor. Algeria needs to give a proper explanation.
They were the first to claim that they destroyed a Malian drone. We have to consider that Algeria is seeking war, and the next time they perform such an act, we will wish we had reacted to it.
But Algeria is not backing down, either it has responded in kind, by recalling its envoys from the three Sahel states. Mali has also accused Algeria of sponsoring terrorism in the region. Bamako says Algiers supports groups affiliated with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Mali is referring to the Tuareg rebels that are active in the country's northeast. For years Algeria played a mediator between Mali's government and the Tuareg rebels. But the dynamics have changed drastically in recent years. The 2020 and 2021 military coups in Mali have pushed the two countries away from each other. Tensions between the two are now flaring up. While Algeria is increasing its military deployment near the border with Mali. On the other hand, Mali is turning to its junta allies for support. If the situation is not quickly contained, the Sahel could be staring at another security crisis.
This is what's going on everywhere. It's just chaos. So we don't know where the war is heading. So this is the topic of the day. From there, we're going to Mama Liberia to discuss what is happening in Nima County. So, Linfo, I'll pass it over to you. Take over.
Yeah.
I think we will give our guests the opportunity to come in, and we will just support, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw this video. It's kind of very jarring, it's kind of scary, I mean, for regional peace and security, especially in the Sahel region. Because that region kind of connects directly to Europe, that is the conduit of migration, I mean, illegal migration, like the Europeans call it. I know during the time the Europeans were migrating to Africa, that was legal. So now that the reverse is happening now, it's been termed illegal migration, because I know that Italians, used to migrate to as far as Ethiopia and Somalia unhindered. There was a trade route, going as far as Yemen, But I mean, that's the new international war order that we've seen with the rise of, new powers, regional powers, try to counterbalance other traditional regional powers, they talk about Algeria was the regional power in that region, but now Algeria is facing, a lot of, confrontation from even Morocco, from France, so especially when it comes to the Polisario question, because Algeria has always backed the Polisario front, in the area known as the Western Sahara, and Liberia was one of the key backers of the Polisario front. Those are some of the, things that caused Toba's demise. When I look at the rights riot, maybe, as we go on, but the international arena that he was operating in too, because, your domestic policy and your foreign policy got to be in sync. There has to be a symbiotic relationship between those two fronts, because your foreign policy should be backed by a domestic policy, because you need domestic resources, tools, and other things to project your foreign policy. So you see the situation with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger leaving ECOWAS, which has been a regional bloc since 1975, has been a bloc that have brought peace to some semblance of peace to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and other, regional conflict, intervening, through political and military means. That has really upended ECOWAS itself, by losing those three countries. The three countries are becoming very powerful. They are becoming very ultra-nationalistic. It's not just Europeans. They are in African countries, especially when we look at those three countries as examples. They are becoming very ultra-nationalist. They believe that they can do things for themselves. They don't need the rest of the world. They can mobilize their domestic, resources to advance their countries. And these are, things that keen observers of international relations got to look at and see where the patterns are, where the cross-cutting of those relationships, where the point of departure, because what comparativists do, So I believe that the Sahel region is like a, boiling pot. It's simmering. When it comes to the fold, it will be a full-fledged, regional war, maybe Algeria versus three countries that military are becoming very strong. If you add the insurgency of ISIS and other international, terrorist organizations in that region, the Tuaregs have been fighting Mali in the Malian government for multiple years. Now the issue of the Western Sahara, now the U.S. has recognized Morocco's claim over the Western Sahara, and that has really pissed Algeria off, because Algeria is the strongest backer of the Polisario front, and those people are fighting for independence, So if the international community cannot stand up for a people, a stateless people, because statelessness is another form of the international, carnage that is happening in the world. Because you look at the people in certain part of Sudan, certain part of, Syria and other places, people are becoming stateless. So the whole notion of nationhood, territoriality, our boundary is becoming obsolete. So that the notion of your territorial integrity, where is your territory? We just saw the drone, taking down the drone. So where is the line? Where is that territorial line? Because these things are very, fluid. When it comes to territoriality, because that drone was flying, it's being mechanically, operated. That's, technology now. So technology is penetrating airspace and all that stuff we're looking at. So the whole notion of your nation state, that boundary, is being contested.
Yeah.
If you get a little water, like what Linford was saying, that divides Nimba from Bon County, you get across the little creek and you in Nimba, or, so who owns that water? Where's the demarcation of what part of that water is for Nimba? What part of that water for? So if you go swimming across one low nautical mile, somebody say, no, you're in Bon County, go back. So the conflict kind of develop even internally. Conflict is part of the human experience. But how to mitigate the conflict, how to make sure people have, understanding. So from the micro aggression to a larger micro MA aggression that's happening globally. So things that happen internally have ramifications for things that happen globally, and vice versa. So the world is kind of linked in this symbiotic relationship. Our economies are driven by the same things, trade, commerce, so the advent of the internet itself has changed the world.
Yeah.
The advent of the internet.
Let me ask something.
Technology have changed the world. So what was it, say one country and work for another maybe company or another country, somewhere else. So the world has changed. We have to change our approach to how we deal with all these, vexing questions that, the societies are dealing with.
I want you to add on this one here, because the Sahel region, those three countries have expelled the French government to leave. Now, Algeria is another French colony. Would that be that the French is now playing the game because they want this to?
But the thing is, Algeria and France have never had a good relationship. Exactly. I mean, historically, Algeria was one country that fought the French, to the disgust of other African countries. So the thing is, it's about national pride. It's about ultra nationalism. Because Algeria and France, if you read about Frantz Fanon, Fanon was this military guy who led a revolt against the French. And the French were defeated in Algiers. And that bruising now, if you go to certain part of France, Marseille, where they have a big Algerian population, the poor, like the Benzema and other people who come from that region, the poor are being marginalized in France. They are French citizens per se, but they are of Algerian descent. So the very people within France, they face marginalization. They say they're not real French. They are, the other. So it's happening in many other places, It's happening in many other places. I'm sure, it's happening in Sweden, where there's a large Somali community. I'm sure other people who were born in Sweden who still don't feel part of that mosaic, So,
but let's look at leadership. While it is true that Algeria actually resisted the French influence and they fought bitterly, that was under a different administration. And now, remember that a couple of years ago, there was a revolution in France, in Algeria, where this guy set himself ablaze. And that
happened in Tunisia.
No, that was in Tunisia. Oh, yes. In Algeria, you have had those old guys who are leaders who directly came from that mentality that will not accept France influence here. Those guys are going away, either dead or something. And then you got some kind of leadership there now. The question that Paul asked, because I thought about that when I watched a video. It could be that France is saying, no, listen, since these three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, have driven us, in fact, trying to disgrace us, we can pass through some of their own people, because for France to come and directly attack these countries, it'll look bad internationally. So they will be passing through a neighboring country to influence something like that. I really thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a motivation. But you said that those people who fought the French, back in the 50s and 60s are all dead, but the grievances are still, people pass these things down to their children, the history, all that. So it's still a residual effect of that bitter war, the French-Algerian war. And some of the people, you know, some of the people that,
when I listened to the video, or when we watched the video, I listened to the commentary. The lady said the drone was shot down 9 kilometers inside
Mali.
9 kilometers. That could be about almost.
Yeah, you know, I mean, maybe it was shot in Algeria territory and kind of, you know, blew, you know, because it was a very close proximity to the border, and it was, you know, it goes in the air, and maybe the wind kind of took it back to Mali. You know, and this international news sometimes can be slanted, you know, based on your own interest too, and how you want to project.
Exactly.
You know, so we got to be careful how we, you know, internalize, you know, these, you know, I mean, events, you know. Yeah, definitely. That was a good point.
Another side of the thing of that whole scenario is that, look, since the coup d'etat in Mali, there has always been sporadic attempts. There are splinter groups still trying to, you know, unseat the government. It's highly tribal to the Malians. The light-skinned Malians feel more entitled than the dark-skinned Malians. So all along that Sahel belt, and there's always been some level of what you call it.
That's what they call pigmentation differential. You know, the skin color kind of, you know, gives you this, you know, false sense of entitlement. You know, so even in America, in other, you know, Western parts, even if black people, you know, feel that those who are more light skinned, they are more kind of accepted in the larger society than those who are dark skinned. You know, you go to our people bleaching now in African country to have a fair chance of, you know, out of marital, you know, acceptance or economic, you know. So, you know, people, so pigmentation is a sociological and anthropological, you know, stuff, you know, skin color. And you talk about the light skin Mali. It happened all in other Sahel region, like, you know, Mauritania. They are very dark skinned Mauritanians and a very light skinned Mauritanian who feel kind of, you know, opulent, you know, the uppity, and think that they are better because they have, you know, better hair, better skin texture. And so all the conflict, you know, it happens everywhere. And I think we experienced that in Liberia too, with the coming of, you know, the free slaves, those who we call Americo-Liberians. You know, there were those who were people of very fair color, those whose fathers were white, you know, slave owners, and who mothers were black, who came, and those who were coming from the Congo Basin, who were intercepted and brought back after slavery was abolished. The people kind of mixed up. So the people who were living in rural Monserrato, they were not living on Kerry Street and Kemp Johnson Road and Ashmont Street. So pigmentation is just not something that we think is, you know, far-flung area, but the people who came, the people who they were calling the Congo people, because that word has been kind of, you know, over time has been, you know, used in a derogatory way. But the Congo people were people who were coming from the Congo Basin, who were going to, you know, the new world, who were turned back. So when the kids said, but then let's go, like they're going Liberia, so everybody going Liberia. So when the people came, the very early, you know, settlers, they said, no, you can be around this metropolitan Monrovia. You gotta go in White Plains, Arlington.
The first thing they ask the guy, where you come from? Your ownership, yeah. What's your name? You come from Congo? Is it? What's your name? My name?
Yeah, maybe name Motumba Colombo. He said, no, you going to Arlington area. You're not staying on Ashmont Street yet. Ashmont Street for the fair color people. You know, people who go to the Baptist church and the Methodist church, you'll find your Second Baptist in Roseville. So how you found the Second Baptist, Third Baptist, Fourth Baptist, all these, you know, I mean, number Baptists, the people who were in the far-flung areas. They were not in Montreal, the church was the Providence Baptist. But so all these things too, these international things have overflow internally. So, you know, it's about the symbiotic relationship between domestic and international. So, you know, I mean, the leaders, I mean, they got to be smart in understanding the global, you know, arena. You know, they got to understand the global arena because they are domestic policy have ramification for the international arena.
I just want to interject. The scenario you just outlined. I mean, it gave rise to identification crisis.
Yeah,
People had to change their names to the Johnsons, the Wilsons, because they wanted to be accepted.
Yeah,
it was like a social disintegration, right?
Yeah, my father used to be this old man. He was living in Tapeta. Harris, TQ Harris's dad.
Yeah.
Because my father's their Duopu village and the Harris's farm are directly opposite each other. So because my grandfather couldn't, send my dad to school, my dad really want to come to go to school, and he was Moses Harris until he came to Morelia to go to Morelia College in his early 60s. So Mr. Harris, TQ Harris, dad said, once I send you to school, you gotta carry the Harris name. So all the Harrises in Tabata, the people who had different names but had to convert. Then over time, as they mature, as they got to know themselves, they had, my father, when he came to Morelia College, I think in 1960, he came from Tabata, he came looking for one of the cousins that he couldn't find. Then somebody said, well, just go to coconut plantation where all the young men, young women can meet. That was the 18 there. So he go to coconut plantation and he see the guy practicing on the beach. He asked who the guy, he said, the Morelia College football team. They played Tottenham High Friday. Tottenham High was laboratory high. They was housed at the University of Liberia campus. So my father came, according to the story, he just said he can play ball in some garden. So the guy comes, he didn't know the guy wearing his boots. He said, but who the guy? The guy get boots, the other guy didn't get boots. He said, that Bobo Gay. And he kept it for MC, Barrow, and Lone Star. Said, what? And the Bobo Gay guy? So then Bobo Gay said, but who are you? He said, I'm from Tapeta, I can play. Bobo Gay said, damn, you're not from Habel or you get past from Tapeta, man. You're not from, ain't no real former, ain't no Habel there, and Kakata, I said, my man. So he said, okay, y'all get it, man. Y'all try him. He went, he called a feed day, and they said, Bobo Gay said, but they got him by. So after practice, they were going home, Bobo Gay said, so man, why you let him? He said, damn, my man, the guy who I came to answer the guy. So Bobo Gay took him. They were living. Bobo Gay was living. Sony went right there. They had rented. This apartment for him. It was the George Weah of those days. Before there was a George Weah, Bobo Gay was the George Weah of those days. Took my dad to his house and asked my dad, "What you want to?" My dad said, "You want to go to school? You want to go to MC?" I took my dad to MC campus, met the sport director, and they became lifelong friends. So.
Your dad was also gay. Gay.
What's that?
You had to change your name to gay.
No, he didn't change it. He didn't Duopu, yeah. He couldn't change it. No, Bobo Gay said, no, he can't. But you say, funny part, my pal, name was go. So, when you say that gay, it was go. Gaywu. It's a girl named Go. Because he was a twin. And that was his name, Go. So they call him Moses Gay, so he's calling him gay, He's like, no, my name Go. So who going to call that girl named Go? My man, he gay.
Interesting. Let's
go to the discussions we're having, Mr. Duopu. You said something that caught my eye. When you talk about the three countries, Burkina, Mali, and Niger, they are breaking away from the ECOWAS.
They broke away.
That's why I said they are breaking away from the ECOWAS. You say it brought some probably happiness or sadness to the community. I don't know, but
but you remember during the Civil War in Liberia, there were Malian troops in Liberia.
Yeah,
and that was a strong force. They have a very strong military.
Yeah, my argument is because ECOWAS has been this economic community mixed with military might that they can solve problems in any country, any member country, like we saw in Sierra Leone, we saw in Liberia. So does that mean that this whole batch will just hold on? That even if some of the member countries say, "Look, listen, we have bad leadership, and we want to get rid of our bad leadership," that the moment they get rid of this bad leadership in our country, and then ECOWAS will deem them to be there. Because the first thing, it was ECOWAS that made it the first move on them by expelling them. So does that mean that we just sit down, okay, yeah, because ECOWAS is there, so let's just, take in whatever our leadership is doing to us. Let's just take it in. We cannot act.
Yeah, but the thing is, all the countries signed an agreement that there will be no military takeover in any country. Anybody who comes to power militarily will not be recognized. And so that was an agreement that every member state kind of sign on to. But the realities can change because no country can force another country to, it's national interest. No country, because all the things that is based on goodwill. The international system is based on goodwill. We all come together and say, oh, my man, let's have the agreement among our four here. Let's make sure we have good relations. Let's make sure, we can interact, we can trade with each other. But every country has that independence that no country can superimpose itself on. So when the guys talk over in this country, they say, well, look at you. Some of your leaders have not had elections for, rigging elections and all that stuff. So what makes you better than me? If you come to power rigging an election and I come to power militarily and my people say yes, they want us. So it depends on the public. Because the public will reflect their leadership. Mm-hmm. Every country, the people reflect their leaders. If the leaders are bad people, the people might probably be bad. Because the two gotta, have solidarity. The leader can be bad, the people good. They will make sure, there's a counterbalance to that. So they were saying that, look at you, you come to power by rigging elections. You can't tell me, that you have that moral high ground, you have that moral clout than me. And my people want me. That in Burkina Faso, you take an opinion poll now, over 98% of the population want the guys in power. So what can you do? You will tell them that this is not a right leadership for you. You can't superimpose yourself on the people. They are sovereign people. So as a sovereignty is a very key, term. If you say people are sovereign, they have a right to do whatever within their national confines. You can't, I don't care how you condemn them or you sanction them. They will live with it. And they will, they will walk you through that whole notion that they are a sovereign people. You gotta respect that sovereignty.
Okay. Paul.
We've been here for 1 hour, 17 minutes now. So let's move on to Liberia. Before we move on to Liberia, we know that EFLAG, the European Federation, is hosting something. So Francis, take off. Francis?
Yeah, no, anyway, by way of the introduction, I'm the president of the Liberian community in Europe, and we are having this 20-year anniversary. We are commemorating our 20 years anniversary as a community-based organization. We are similar to EULA in the United States of America. And so this year, July 26 celebration, it will be in conjunction with our 20 years anniversary and peaceful coexistence as a community. So I just want to send out these invitations, a reminder to our friends of Liberia, friends in Europe, to come and honor our invitation and grace the occasion. So it just the stage is set, everything is ready. July 25th to the 28th in Antwerp, Belgium, where we are headquartered. So we are expecting high-profile guests from Liberia and across the world. Our friends from the United States of America, they are coming as well. So so we will be promoting the event as time goes by.
Great. So we're moving on to our mama Liberia. There is a serious by-election going to take place on Tuesday, and they have been hitting up for some reason instead of competency now, it becomes the trouble thing is very trouble and very trouble as well, with statements coming from other camps, even including other ethnicities that causing a lot of problems. So the vice president and he have been getting at it. So I got this
feedback from somebody there.
Yeah. Can we all mute? Yeah. So the vice president and Madam Ide Gongo, where I've been getting at it. So it's just a little clip here I want to play. It's about 2 minutes, and then we can now set the situation in Nima County. We'll talk about the Prophet Keys allegation on the Mandingo people as well with the land issue, and then we'll talk about now the competency number based on a huge trap. Listen to this between the vice president and Ide Gongo.
Kid on my house. I said, lead an election. You been arguing here, you been fighting for my people to get seat. We tell you one and you try and get it. Lead one at a time, people take it. But politics being what it is, it's not a drugs. When you take it, you can't leave it. Thank you, Sue.
Vice President not making it like here myself running. He make it like here myself running. He need a people job. Whole Vice President, he moved from Morocco. He inside the Vice Presidential motorcade. So my people like Jeremiah and myself running and we beat him. So we carry the Vice President, you say you want to be senator anyhow. He and myself Tuesday, you will vote for me, then we'll beat him. But what can I see business? Then you take the country money, you just running up and down in the night, crossing deals. When you see the other group, you can vote for the person here, get 150,000. You are getting it for? No. You broke ground all in Lima. You failed the whole day. Everywhere you went for the campaign, 2023, 2020, you broke ground. You don't even fulfill it yet. Then you bring it back on money to Tifa. My people, the vice president told us, say, the owner of Kennedy is disruptive. He said, I will carry him to the Senate. When he faces, then you have to hire with. When he's spotted, you have to hire with fixes. No one somebody with our sporting? No! No one leader that will go spot the Senate? No! Yeah, he spot the House of Representatives. We want somebody that will make Lima County proud. We want to be.
Right. There are 6 persons in our race, right? But it tends to be between the vice president and Ide as the way it's looking. Because they're trying to silence the other people now. It's just between 2 people. And this is the situation we face with in Liberia. And I think they should have had some sort of debate. Let people go out there and express their feeling how to take the county forward. But it's not looking that way. It's about this group and that group. So they brought in Perfect Kid also to support the other group, and he went after the Mandingo people, which was wrong. So, guys, this is the situation. You are aware of the Nima scenario. Duopu from Nima, live for God, Nima blood and how they call it, Pere as well, I may say. And
I get Nima blood, Pele blood, and Pasa blood.
So we'll start with the audience here. Friends here we are the spectator and enjoying the show here that are going on in Nima. But my concern is in Liberia, we have the way of picking people. We don't pick people based on competency. We pick people because it's from popular tribe. That's how today we end up with President Joseph Boyka when Eddie picked him because he came from a popular county, Lofa County. The same way that the president today pick another person from popular, that person may only be. So it's It does not based on competency anymore in Liberia. It based on.
Let me know who you read there. So Joseph Boakai is not competent.
No.
In my opinion, I would tell you he's not competent to be president of Liberia. That's my view.
Me, I say point blank no.
So who's the most competent person? Commies?
No, we are not calling them. We are not calling them.
You guys are representing ANC.
No, it's not. Listen,
do not shove a sword in our throat. You ask a question.
I mean, your last election, you supported ANC. You
asked a straight question, right?
All ANC people, yeah. I couldn't even call in.
You asked a straight question.
You didn't want any resistance.
In the last election, you had the Cummins, you had the Senior Fremont, you had Tewon Gonglo, you had Moba. All of these people were competent then. George Weah and Joseph Newman Barker, period. That's my view. So you can't change it. That's the fact.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, you asked a straight question. Whether Joseph Barker is not competent, I said no, he's not. Simple. So I bring him come here, all of people in.
Who's more competent?
Until we elect a competent person. But for now,
okay, guys. I mean, let's deal with the substantive issues, rather than this personal. And it will kind of solid the discussion because people want us to deal with, real life issue and be analytical.
Yeah.
Rather than all, going back and forth, who competent, who not competent. I think the people will decide that. That what the people, in a social contract, I mean, there's a relationship between the governed and the governors. It's the governed that empower the governors. Yeah. So if somebody wins an election, if somebody is elected, let's respect the will of the people because the people are entrusted with that power to decide who their leaders will be. Although we can have a problem with that, we can disagree, to agree on any number of things. But, the respect for the people's their wishes should be kind of sacrosanct, It comes back to our own political socialization as a people. We don't have that, real civic mindedness, real political acumen that can really look at candidates and, size them up, know what they believe in, know what they can do. Because most of our politics now is driven by who brings the highest commodity of rice, and people take their rights before rice, and the whole notion of who brings the goose takes my vote. So after that, what becomes of that relationship? There's a political scientist I always quote called T. McCann Stewart, and he postulated that a man voted for is a man lost. Every time you vote for somebody, everything you trust power to somebody, you've lost that person. Your relationship is asymmetrical. You don't think you guys can have any parity. No, it's asymmetrical. Although, they can come around, they can have a little, but the power dynamics, power is a fluid commodity. When somebody gets power, that person is a different character. I don't care how close you were with that person. That person now looking for new alliances, looking for new people to foster the alliances with, and all alliances now are not what, aspiring for. So we gotta look at the contextual framework, what happened in Nimba. Let's come back to the Nimba scenario. I'm not privy to everything that's happening. Everything I know is maybe from secondhand and my reading of things that I'm not on the ground, and I'm not very adept when it comes to Nimba politics. I won't lie. Although I'm partly from Nimba, but I'm not really into the politics of the county. I've never lived there before. I've never ran for office there before. I've never worked there before. But I still have, that heretical attachment to the county. But insofar as that may be, with the new alliances now jockeying for power, and all that's part of our culture now. Everybody thinks they can be somebody, because those who were there prior to them were not people of any, stature. So any Tom, Dick, or Harry can get up today and say, you know what, I can be president of this country. And if you get it right, financial backing, people behind you, hey, you can be, you know. So we don't have that political socialization that people will read your manifesto, people will read what your intention are, your experience, what you bring to the table, what, the extent of things now, not those aspirational things. I can do this, but the thing that you actually have achieved, we don't size it up like that. It's unfortunate, but that's what we have, because we don't have that inkling about politics, what politics ought to be. That politics is an authoritative allocation of values. Authoritative allocation of values. You are allocating things, power, money, prestige. Now, the whole notion of politics, how you allocate that value. If power is your value, you will cherish it. Anything is that of any value to anybody, that person will cherish that thing. So power is of value to Liberians. That if you get power today, your life can change, your family life can change in a minute. Because the state has always been used as this, piggy bag. Those people in power, they don't have their own money. We have an economy that is controlled by a mercantilist class. Come and think about it. Our economy historically have been controlled by a mercantilist class. The Lebanese, the Indian, I don't find fault with them because their whole notion is business. The acquisition of profit is driven by that. The Phoenicians come, they set up shop, they got small money, they collude with our public officials, they siphon money to their business, they build it up, they get a cut on a regular business as long as you're in power. When we leave power, when you come to that store, the store boy can reach to you first. Boss man, not yet. A new guy, the new deputy minister dealing with right now. So that has been our political socialization. That has been ingrained in us. That the only way, the only outlet to getting wealthy is through, being in some political office. And because our leaders have not come to the point where they can even mobilize their own capital to create jobs. They don't own factories, they don't own machineries, they don't own the means and factor of production. The state has always historically been used as this, functional piggy bag in that administrative state. So everybody goes there with the notion of, when I get there, I will make sure I scoop up enough for myself and people around me, pacify them. And sociologically, it's just a pathology and our political history that the very people have accepted, this latent, psychological tendency. It's latent. It's a latent psychological tendency that, once the guy from my side, guy from my village or my region or my tribe, and when the guy gets there, I can see myself in this guy. But come to think about it, the guy doesn't care about you. He's not coming back. Yeah. You will carry his walls up. You'll get a 40 kVA generator. You put a big gate, a big black one that you see now. What? It takes 2 men to drag it. The power now. Yeah. Allocate that authoritative allocation of value. That meant value now to separate you from himself. So the relationship is asymmetrical. There's no parity. The guy who is the counter palaho on the coconut tree, the cola tree, and all that tree. I'm not coming back. I'm going to Boulevard Hotel.
Can I just come in small?
Just to zero in what I'm saying is, it's unfortunate that is our reality. It would take serious civic engagement by all of us. The platform can help, and other platforms, and real intentional way of reaching out, setting people down, and educating people from elementary school, nursery. I got a small school in Liberia. That's my focus on my wife and I, giving back. But education to me is the most important thing you can give to anybody. But for what people now is what you can get for the material well-being. And Marx talked about it, Karl Marx talked about it, the historical and material dialectics, that thing that comes from people, that material dialectics, what can I get? What is in this for me? Right now, that election are going on in Liberia. Most people don't even know the issues that are going on there. You know, yo. But you sit down and say, what does that person believe in? They say, my man, no lie. I'll tell you, Liberia, know all the slang. Hey, you know, they say, my man, no lie. It's not something that on their mind. What on their mind is, what can a person provide tonight? You know, we eat some heavy food, we get our bayoko, and, you know, we go home, we come back. It's not really, you know, at an advanced level that we can debate the issue. You talk about debate, which is very sacrosanct to any democratic process. But who waiting for debate? You know, I mean, the people who will be debating themselves don't even understand the issues. You know, they can't even articulate the issues. So if you go in there with all the ideas and all the nice, you know, I mean, philosophy and stuff, I mean, Papa, now you were looking for the guy who can bring our thing. You know, so it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. So I'm not going to discuss the particular Nima thing per se, like I said earlier, because I'm not privy to some of the things, but I see some of the things on Facebook. And, you know, I mean, I don't know the players. I don't know them from, you know, I don't know them. I don't know what they believe in. I never had any conversation with them. I've never met any of them. So, you know, it puts all of us in a bind that we don't know these people, but they put on the ground, you know, they know them. So, you know, I think they can live with it like they've always done.
Yeah. So, Linford, I want you to chime into with the Prophet Key situation by bringing the Mandingo Pro into this with the lens that open new the old wound that a lot of Mandingos are talking about. Why Prophet Key have so
I think we tend to polarize the whole situation in Nima County.
But it wasn't your time, Francis.
The ongoing political discourse are going on, the interaction. You guys want to polarize it. I don't think it's helping the discussion.
Yeah, but I don't want to forget.
The question here is, I want you to tie in with the comment that he made.
Yeah, okay. I will comment on the provocating. I'll bring the provocating. Lastly, I will end up on that. But let me just know a few things to what our brother said. You know, the political landscape in Liberia has been marred by this idea that, you know, the people are going there to get for themselves what they can grab. So if they come to me to vote for them, I must get something too. That's the whole concept now people are based on. So you're talking about debate. Even the presidential elections, nobody debated. Yeah. Okay. Then you talk about senatorial election, especially in a country where American from a battlefield. And then when he declared himself, because I don't see where Nimbayans gather to say, okay, Prince Johnson, today you are the godfather of this county. But this making from the battlefield went and declared himself by some power and say, I am the godfather. And so people are trying to imitate him. Because they feel that that's the only way. If somebody goes and say, I'm the godfather, I will replace the late Senator Johnson, then people will say yes. You know, they will follow suit. Okay, you can see that I don't know what I should be calling names. That you see Koga lying down flat. First he jumped up in Johnson body. Now he lying down on the ground. The chief got to put that hand on his back. But how important is that in politics? Politics is all about giving your vision to the people about the development of your country. But you go and lie down on the ground. So you will do anything. You'll go any length for the people to vote for you. You know what you're going to get. And our brother struck a very important point. You know, the asymmetric. The moment you vote for this guy, this is a guy who is lying down on the ground. You put in your hand on him. The moment you vote for him, everything will change. Let's look at Omer Bwaka. Omer Bwaka said before the election he could ride wheelbarrow. He can even ride wheelbarrow to go to work. Omer Bwaka said he walked from Lofa County to come to Monrovia. Omer Bwaka have been living in a one house. But what got in this old man's mind that he will go buy millions of dollars bulletproof jeep? Who want to harm him? He's the president, I agree. Okay, let's forget about that. When these people get to power, the first thing they do is they build all these huge structures. So the people around there see, they say, well, when we vote for these people, when they go there, they will get things for themselves. So before we vote for them too, let's get what we can get for at least for today. Instead of saying, okay, we are loyal to our country. And the last time somebody raised the issue of loyalty on this platform, the person said, oh, the people, when they love that country. Nobody loves no country. If you love your country, you will not be stealing all the money. If you love your country, You will not go bribe people to vote for you. Okay? Now, you who were here with us two days or two weeks before election, and we all sat down under the cola tree. By the time we letter you, what make us enemy to you? That you will be buying bulletproof jeep, that you will be, building fence so high, your gate, it will take 10 minutes to drag the fence. I mean the put to the gate. I mean to the fence. So all these things people gotta look at it, and to go to the prophet key thing. The Liberian politicians, they have reached a point where they are desperate. Prophet Key, for me, is a non-entity when it comes to Liberian politics. But because our people are not thinking, lack of education, like our brother just mentioned, we need to socially teach our people, politically teach them, so they will know. Now, a Prophet Key, a man who does not influence government in any way, he comes and attack a section of the country, calling them names, accusing them of what they will do, because he's not looking at the implication of his statement, how inflammable it may become in the future. Okay, remember that there are people who think like him too. So whatever he says will sink that in the minds of those people. Okay, and it could lead to something in the future. So and some people are hailing him because he's talking in their favor, instead of people trying to repeat what he said. People are hailing him, and that could be very, very serious matter in Nima County for people to consider. As far as I'm concerned, when they walk in, there was tension between some people of Nima, the Kyo and the Mano and the Madingo people. And they said Kyo and Mano people were, Madingo people were supporting Do, and people, their tension continued, and we know what happened. Okay, and it even led to land dispute where Kyo people and Mano people were saying, well, we're taking our land from the Madingo people, and this tension continued even until Ellen Johnson time. It has not yet been totally solved. And then a Prophet Key will just come and make a loose statement. He's like a loose cannon. This is a guy who committed serious crimes, serious fraud. He was in jail, and they free him for political reason. Go and endorse social person. That's the only ground on which we will free you. And when they free him, he came. The next thing he through accusation of Madingo people. Can you imagine? You know what developments of Madingo people are doing in Nima County? Musa Belete, for example. Okay, besides the development, Madingo people have been living in that place for years. If you take them from there, where are you going to carry them? So, I think the tribal thing in Nima County must cool down. If they have not learned lesson, let them go back to the war. Let them reflect on the war. All the people that lived during the war time, that experienced war, all of them died. For those of you young people, ask them what happened, so you can get some lesson and learn from it, or else. If anything backfires now, this trip is not going to be any other country against Nima. It's going to be Nimbayans against Nimbayans. And you guys know where you can go, to what extent you can go. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, so friends say, at least you jump in, say we're trying to sensationalize the situation, but what Linford just said, Prophet Key may be a loose cannon, but the young people who does not read between the lines, they follow him. And so I want you to conclude what you're saying.
Look,
to get add that on too.
The utterances of Prophet Key, I mean, it's not unique to the Liberian community. I mean, it's kind of unique to the Liberian politicals in playing field. Look, candidates from all political parties, they say things that is things that they should not be saying. Just it's all because in the name of politics, and the thing that people need to gravitate from, the kind of political dispensation of how you go about expressing yourself politically. It boils down to what? Votes. And we all saying the thing. We're all saying the same thing. I'm saying it that it was wrong, but we should not be the ones to give it relevance. Because it has the propensity to create more hate and more political violence in the country, in our county.
But how are we getting
it will spiral down to the larger community, Liberia as a country. I mean, we all know historically that these three tribes in Nima County has been fighting for generations prior before the war. And we have that sense of, like most Liberians have that kind of feeling of hate for Mandingos because the way they carry themselves. Business-wise, financially, I mean, even culture, so look, I don't think we should be the ones that we can condemn it, but when we tend to sensationalize it, we're trying to make it, blow, the whole utterance, the whole statement. That statement was condemned by the VP and people from his name, the guy named the guy who running for senators, or what his name, Koga, his side. So we should not juggle the political ball.
Okay.
We should weaken the weak. We all clean up to know better, but we shouldn't be the ones.
I don't understand when you accuse us of sensationalizing the thing. We are saying that this has the propensity to create chaos. So that was wrong. How are we sensationalizing it?
I think Prophet Key, like Francis stated, it's not unique. His comments, Prophet Key insults women of Liberia. He engages in very, very incendiary remarks about who politicians you have not talked about. We are JMB, everybody. He has insulted people, called people names. He's not a major factor. The man has been debarred from the elections. This is just, trying to get in the news and try to make himself relevant. So, if we give it any amount of relevance now, it would kind of, really widen his antenna. So, he's not a major factor. He doesn't really, I'm not condemning anybody, but he doesn't really manifest anything that got to do with leadership, maybe anywhere in Liberia, So let's not give it any credence.
I want to know.
It has been condemned by people, from all spectrum of the political life of Liberia. Saying Mandingo people. People have made these comments. Not Prophet Key, not the first person. You regularly stated there has always been tension. There are intermarriages between Mandingo people and Mano women in that Seclapia area, the Musa Belete. His dad is Mandingo, his mom is Mano. A lot of other guys that I know, friends that I know, they come from that Ban, Seclapia. Those are two major Mano mixed with Mandingo towns. So even the Ganta, with all these people losing their properties, this thing can be channeled through the legal system. I know it's kind of corrupt and cumbersome sometimes, but that's our history that we got to deal with that. We got to make sure we reconcile those people because they have siblings, they have relatives from all sides. In Nimba, that people, they're not just, some of them are not just pure Mandingo, some of them are just pure Gio, some of them are Bui, you from that region, Linford, where Nimba, Bassa, and Bon County meet. People, and the crown people from Nimba, from Belawe, and other places, Bui, Doru, and other people, they are a part of that mosaic. They are part of that community. So for anybody to try to ostracize them, to demean them, that should be condemned by, any civilized person. We don't want that kind of rhetoric in our politics, especially when you talk about demeaning other people. Everybody, we are all Liberians who come from different, people say some of us from Ivory Coast, because some of our great-great-grand, from Ivory Coast, from the Man region, as they come over the border, they made life, they born children, they settle. So we are all in that migratory, move. We all migrating. We came from Liberia, we came here, we might go back. Some people will stay here, some people will not go back. Some people move to other places. And, so we are part of the human experience, So we should condemn that. And I think that what friends were saying, we shouldn't give it any iota of, relevance that it doesn't deserve. So we can have.
I agree with you, but you see something happened where you live in the U.S. There was a guy called Jeremiah Wright that was heavily involved with Obama campaign, but something he did, Obama as a leader, what he did not.
I know Jeremiah Wright story, and we might not get a full extent of that thing because Jeremiah Wright was a preacher. Obama was attending his church, and he made some comments. People do that, in their life. People, nobody's perfect. People do that. And Obama tried to kind of denounce his. It was a political move, It wasn't like he didn't appreciate what Jeremiah Wright was saying, but he tried to denounce it just because he wanted to find favor with the white establishment. As a political move, but it's not based on morals. It's not based on his ethics. It was a move that he did for that particular time, So that our politics kind of do too to us, In the moment, you want power, you want access, you say things to feel cozy with one group of people and to alienate yourself from other group of people. And that very thing too also harmed Obama in places like Chicago and other urban black areas that he was kind of throwing his own under the bus, but he did it, and the end justified the means, politics, it's about pragmatism, some people can be idealistic, but when it comes to the real, nitty-gritty of politics, but man, you gotta be a pragmatist.
Yeah. Right, Linfa, before we should, let me just play a little commercial break, and then we'll get to the closing segment of this. This is our commercial thing that we do here. A Liberian who funded this vodka that is so nice. I think Francis have had part of this vodka. It will be celebrated in Europe during the EFLA 20-year anniversary. So to our audience in Liberia, in the US, you can get this through the bottle line. Here we go.
Di Lorenzo, G Grace. Hems Voga, Liberia number one, Liberia number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Hans Vodka, Hans Honey, Hans Bitter, and Hans Original Vodka. Hans Vodka has no hangover. That's why they say Papa drank Mama happy. Hans Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Hans Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Hans Vodka or www.hansvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hans North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hans Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hans Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I tell you in my boy and my blood, every time when I stay on the block, everybody knows it, we husband. And forgot that number one, from Liberia all around, in supermarket store and everywhere, and forgot that number one,
No, actually, I had my first taste of that vodka in the States, in Philadelphia. And since then, it's like, it has a very cozy taste. No hangover.
And vodka is one of our number one sponsor of the bottle line. So we want to say thanks to the Liberians, entrepreneur, they're doing well. So, Linford, you take over your show, man.
Yeah, like I said, when we go into Liberia now, you gotta carry bottle, and then if you carry a heavy thing, you go million outside there. But we want to encourage a lot of Liberians to go into business because this year is not only government, and because government is giving so a lot of job in Liberia now, that's why you see some people going any length and breadth just to get a government job. But let's say welcome to a couple of people again. As the show was progressing, there were people coming in. Seku M. Keita, GM Keita, Kabasua, Due, Babudu. A lot of people came in, and also our sister Yasini Peye, who is always following us, and she's also one of Liberia's women advocacy group. I think member of the women advocacy she runs a platform. So we say welcome to all of you, and of course we are very, very honored tonight to have a man of extensive knowledge on politics and international politics and other issues. And I mean, just the fact that you're so fluent, you're so open. I mean, we could share, common life story about ourselves. And life is all about interactions. Life is all about interaction because, like you mentioned, Liberia is a small place. Somebody may know somebody who and then all of a sudden we are all tied up, and you meet in one big gathering. Oh, my man, boy, Mr. Duopu is, I know that man. But I met, Mr. Duopu, him for Paul.
I mean, just call me Mansfield, man. I'm Mr. Duopu, that's my partner.
Okay. Yeah. I'll fight in between the two, right?
Yeah, just call me Mansfield, man.
Okay,
or Chuchu ball.
They man going back in time. Everybody can call out in there. I mean, I personally myself, we play Mao together, we play football. And the funny thing was the BD man team, every time we play them, man.
But that one thing, all the small button that we did, I didn't like, bro. In Montreal, but that Mao, I was so lazy to play that.
Man, Mao was the game, man. Mao was the game, but
I played Mao. Guess what? I used to hold my man at Bell.
Oh, my man, Mao was the game, man. We used to leave from one era to another, challenging.
Man. I got a beating from Marble. My mom sent me in the market. Her last $20. I want to play Marble. While playing, I had the $20 on the ground. Somebody took it.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of those stories there, my man. Somebody can leave the whole market down. Somebody can just swap. All that didn't part of your upbringing, my man. I'll make you who you are.
It's part of the upbringing. And that's what prepared us for the life we live today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. The friendship we made, and I mean, like, Francis and I mean, that was more than 45 years. We've been knowing each other. We played together. We, basketball. They had a basketball court in their era. We used to leave our era. And there was the days of using the LED too now. There was no motor boy.
But wait, but hey, guys, just before we go, I want to ask only one question here. The other time I sat down thinking only for long. During our days, there was no mobile phone. Even house phone was a luxury. I remember the first time I ever talked on house phone was I chased my heart in bed because my family used to work there. So I just would go there, I take a phone, but who to call? I just play
you get a ring up.
But so how we connect now, to our
but it was just kind of spontaneous,
Yeah,
I mean, we never had phones, like you said, or no motor bike, but we took a lot of girls in friends in that era. We took, we had places to meet, especially when it comes to school. That was the prime force of our parents. Exactly. The school and football. Those were the places that we met. Those are social gathering that brought together. And, you make connection with people then from nowhere, but you won't really go through that whole thing this time. You gotta send friend requests, somebody to be a friend, kind of false friends then, people getting now. But that friendship was thing that brotherhood, we connected. We have our little small clashes when it came to football and stuff, but after all the game, we said, tomorrow we'll count out empty bus, our tata bus, the water side, we'll drink out sun tap and eat our little stone, we're sharing it. And we're talking, we're dropping off, as we go along Barnesville Road, our friend is dropping off, and we were going Barnesville. He said, damn it, I had a long conversation. But now you get on public transport now. Everything is about, promotion. People on their phone turn their back. Now, I can tell my kids. I said, when we were growing up, we had the best of times because our friendships have been long lasting, not just friends and I, but a lot of other friends. And today we still connect with each other. Some ways we go to Philadelphia, other places in the US. You see friends that you've known since you were 8, 9 years old. You know, yeah, it can happen nowadays. Nowadays, friendship is just superficial.
They think click to me because the reason it clicked to me was I look at all the young people nowadays. Everybody on the phone. I said to the point where you're driving.
And the thing is, they're not doing anything on their phones. It's not like they're making money off the phone. It's just they want data. You must send them money for data to do. You know. I mean, the phone it changed human interaction. I mean, even sometimes too, my kids can be upstairs. They want money from me. They text me, "Daddy," they put $1 sign. Can I have some? I would tell my mother, you know, I was like, Mama, I'm just put money for resale to go in her press. And that kind of transaction, that connection with your child. But now we don't have it. It's kind of, it's just reflective of the society that we live in now, that even family relations, family ties are going asunder. Sometimes wife and husband on the same bed, everybody turn a bye-bye, yeah.
If you remember when we were kids, right?
The people on their phone, why you say that in the car waiting for them, they walking on the phone,
yeah.
So Linfa, you asked this question: how we used to connect? We used to play football around the Monrovia area. On Saturday, you hear say, "Oh, there's Olympia over there." You just grab your, you need to be all your barman boots.
Ask Prince. Every Saturday was something like Olympia in Ghanaville that we're going from J.E. Marshall Feet to Ominga Feet to Uvilla Feet to Kuya Feet to St. Louis Feet. We just go and play for something like Tina eating a wrap with a cigarette, something. The guy brings a small cup, he showed the yard, the real cup, he showed the yard. Then at the end of the tournament, he brings on a cup.
Connection because you go for those games, you meet people. That was the story. And there was no telephone number, but you knew this person. You will meet up. You will meet on Broad Street. Oh, my man, how are you? You're going. So when somebody must see you around from
Paul, wait. The funny thing, the reason why I asked a question, why the thing clicked to me a long time ago, I used to live on the bypass, and my school was not half far from the house. Pastor teenage and right on. So it was like 2-3 minutes to get to my school, right? So then I have my friends who were living across the bridge and everywhere. Then the particular girl was in a class that I used to like, and the girl was living right opposite French Tower House on Clay Street. Then my friend, my best friend, he was living way to that old Chinese restaurant on Broad Street, where they get his post station, but under there,
Broad and Lynch.
My friend was living there. Then he my girlfriend was living way in Newport Street. I mean, that your girlfriend, we can't talk to them, but at least we see them.
In your mind, your girlfriend, in your mind.
So for me to go visit my own girlfriend, I'll find her, I'll leave the house, I go early, then I sit down on the house when I be around the other house, sit down on the road, then I get to a little tree, when she see me, then I'm happy. Then I walk, I go away on Broad Street, I tell my friends, I say, John, I saw the girl, they get sorry. But I'll go visit my girlfriend now. Then we'll go away on Newport Street. And they get them, they were living downstairs when they upstairs, when I have finished, I said, so we'll walk up. Then we make something that sound.
And when you go in some area where the garden can run behind you, my man was a lot of walk from Bannerville coming all the way play like JJY or Iron Factory, my man can't love us on getting. Look garden area, garden, with garden, chase you, my man. Feed help the battle.
Okay, check it out. So I started for that. I said, life nowadays is different,
Yeah, it's different, man. It will never be the same.
It prepare us, it gave us that discipline.
Yeah. Give us perspective.
So, I think we must thank God that the now I watch a movie.
My friends that with basketball, football, they play both sport, basketball and football, so they have access to those convent girls, then because convent girls, they let bad boys. And they're from our race, but they let sympathetic boys and sympathetic boys and 2 bookish. They go to visit and give them a big morning chemistry book, morning physics. No. They want bad boys. Don't carry a student companion or you take a companion thinking about words you want to use on the girl. You foul or you started with arrow.
Let me give you a story. I was in Basel TH and we used to go talent show. Now, Basel community, because I used to live in a one-way area. So that's a surrounding. But this particular girl living in Basel community, well famous. everybody wanted this girl, ball. The fact is you're in Katira and got it in government school.
Yeah, we're in government school.
So what on a talent show, man?
You see the social certification?
Yeah, I wore my nice Doka Flare GQ. You know those safari that we used to wear those days? And then so she asked me, wait, what school you going? I said, St. Patrick. But what happened? But we are so small that one day she run into me. So there was on Bassa community and bypass there, they had the Bassa code, the Titi Gripper code.
Yeah, Titi Gripper code.
Yeah, right there.
Not far from Titi Gripper, one more used to sell cornbread just around there. And she was living Bassa community. So I want to buy cornbread in my Bassa tea. You said, oh, Patrick, boy, how are you?
No, but actually, guys, I mean, my wife and I were talking the other day about how we could meet. I remember 1987, Louva County, I played basketball in Louva County, and went for a tryouts. And I came home. I went to the States. I was the only person in the house on vacation. So I came home from a tryout, and one of my a common friend, the late Ofowi Nicholas, Yves brought a dog for his mom. And I don't know how the guys. I came home. The whole crew went to the house.
Yeah.
Dog. The fry it was so delicious.
Yeah.
Because she bought a dog. I tried.
Don't make that true, my man. It was a form of bringing us together.
I went for training. See, Patrick campus, one Louva County, one for Louva County trial, made a trial. And I came home. All the guys home to my house.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife, I don't know how they got how communicate, how they communicated, matter of fact.
Yeah.
So, all the boys so that they were eating that dog, my man.
Yeah.
With the coke and the stuff about chilling. Like I told my wife, I said, I don't know how did they gotta communicate with each other to come.
It was amazing those days, man. It was amazing.
Good show, man. We had a good upbringing, and it was a lot of good things,
And
people
we pray that our country will go back to that stage, And I look at the children nowadays where they spend out of 24 hours, they spend 23 hours on the telephone. You're not making friends. The people you're talking to, you don't know them. No physical contact and all these things. But we hope that even the drugs, don't drink our days, man.
Most of the things we learn it from watching television.
Yeah.
We could do, current event. I could, when I was in like 5th, 6th grade, I could name a lot of countries, capital city, the presidents, and those informal learning where you argue with a man in the area, kind of academic, you're questioning each other, my man. You know that man, quadratic equation. And also, back in the day, when you're not doing well in your lesson, people won't deal with you because even with all the fun we used to have the football team, you gotta balance it because when you fail, you can't evoke it. After school or school, you fail. I don't know in the era. You're not going nowhere for Christmas.
But
now people
were going to private school.
People don't care if they fail now because they can use either bribe or their bodies, or other things.
Yeah.
I was in Liberia 2008. I was helping at a university, teaching 1 or 2 courses there. And I was working with the governance commission at the time. Somebody felt I made every effort for the person to make up their grades. And it was just impossible. The last result, bro, I can bring scratch card for you. I said, come on, I don't need those things for you. I would give those things to you. I don't need that. So, so that how it was, that camaraderie that we had, that real friendship, and I one person who valued the relationships because they've always come, beneficial. Although there were other friends who were not like, some of them started maybe smoking soon and doing other things. Yeah, but they were part of our community.
Look, man, I just want to say something.
A question for you here. Yasini is asking, what percentage
of the population we're talking about? I mean, if you want to give a percentage, which I mean, depends what you're talking about, America or Liberia.
In terms of what?
Europe. I mean, the
In
story
terms
about
of how
where
people
we're
like
coming
relate. But I just want to put in the point. Look. We talk about friendship. I mean, during our days, everybody was kind of our friends. I asked my kids here. My son got only 2 friends or 1. All other people say, he them in van. I mean, come on, he's not my friend. You know, like, I mean, you talk with them, say no. But look, do you know this? I mean, we have friends. We were all kind of, we were good friends with all friends. I could call this man my friend. But now they put who kind about that friend, like, I don't know him. I don't see him. They say I on the same football team.
It's different now. It's different now.
It's a good show though.
Yeah.
So
Like
I think I need to sum up now, and then I know it's almost midnight on our end.
I know you, right? I know you, Francis. I know you. But you see, like I said,
I'm going to hustle, my man. I got my extra hustle tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I go to side gig, my man. Everybody need a side gig.
So, friends, you can't be doing this because today, as a Christian, this is the Christian Holy Week. And this is the time where you
God don't send manna from heaven anymore, bro. Christianity that doesn't work. God doesn't send manna from heaven.
Yasin is I don't know. I think I'm older than Yasin. So
you think, eh?
No, I know I'm older than her. I mean, she's my little sister. I think I believe so. I want to believe so. Unless you can tell me say she's 63. Then she older than me. But I'm 62, so you know.
Yeah, I know you're from now.
Yeah, my man, that God bless me. You see, now I can
tell you from that Mamba area, you always grow, you know. I mean, you got good metabolic, you know, good genes, good that little dumb boy, you put that thing behind you.
I know, right? So yesterday we'll talk about Liberia, we'll talk about the friendship we're talking about, or that age group we're talking about. That was the group. That was the group that when you know somebody today, you know that you'll be walking. My man, we'll go in this house. People can volunteer. I remember when I know it's a left football. Okay, I used to play basketball. I know it's a left football. But in my house, we form a football team inside the house because we're 4 boys living in the house. You know, with our parents. I mean, my mama and then our landlord, no children there. So we form football team. And then I live in the house, I can't play football. So they will bring all the football players will come to our house. So our house was like a camping ground. And then so our friend can come to us. We're always responsible to wash the house. So then when our friend can, we can restrict them. And then, you know, that friendship was there. And today, I got no friends.
Sometimes those friends become like your family. Sometimes they stay. They, you know, you know. Because I know my grandmother's house was like.
I think that Yasini's her question in the context. I think she's asking that are we discussing that bureau? We are done with the show. We just free flowing.
Okay.
The discussion is over.
We're talking life
it's interconnected to what we say. You know, Liberia is part and parcel of what we are discussing. Well, Liberia, I mean, at the good old days.
What made Liberia?
Just being nostalgic
is over.
The what made Liberia bad today is because the lifestyle people live today. No, if you take by the old people, people who grew up in the 60s and 70s, if you take them back to be young people today with the same mentality, Liberia will be different. It will not be what you see. You will not see any drug addict. During my days, even if they send you to buy a cigarette, you'll be running to bring that cigarette home.
So, but it just shows how the country was better off 40, 50 years ago than today.
Yes.
Which is kind of counterintuitive, you know, because every society needs to build on, you know, the past, you know. Yes. But now it looks like we have retrogressed. You know, I mean, so back in the day, you know, these things that are happening now, the kind of social discontent, although they were there, you know, but they were not as pronounced as they are today, you know, the kind of disparity in wealth. Because, you know, our parents are not rich per se, you know, but they could send to Catholic school. Our friends that went to Catholic school, I went to Catholic school. You know, we had shoes on our feet. We had small recess to carry to school. We had, you know, like I said, I run a little school, you know, in Duopu area, you know. Kindergarten, nursery to 4th grade right now. It's still growing. It started with 5 students. Now we upping it to, 30s and going to 40, which is good. And my wife and I, we made it very intentional that those children will be fed twice a day. Even the teachers eat that. Because I don't want no child to come to school hungry. I don't want no child to come to school being discriminated because that child didn't bring recess money. I want everybody to come to school looking forward to that breakfast in the morning, the first before school starts, and looking forward to lunch, in the midday. And sometimes the kids want to just stay on campus. I tell them, let the children, people come for them at 4 o'clock. Let them be there, let them play, let them have fun. I want them to learn having fun. I want them to have that learning ability where they won't be restricted by any teacher. They will explore their inner self and be who they want to be. So that should be something that we all should look at doing, in our own small ways. Like Linford said, the government can do all. No government can do all for its citizens. I don't care how rich that government is. There are some bottlenecks, But we are citizens. We have a responsibility. Especially from someone who God bless with small little thing that we can even help one child. One child. Everybody can do that for one child. We will make a big dent. In so far as helping our country for us to move from this phase, which is not going the right direction, to be frank. It's not going the country is not going the right direction right now. We need a serious mental check as a corporate and collectively. We need a serious mental check. What is Liberia? Who is a Liberian? Those questions we need to ask ourselves internally. What is your responsibility as a citizen of that country? What have you done for that country in your own weak way?
But what they call it active citizenship.
Yeah, definitely.
Sociology.
But everybody puts the onus on government. That's why the contestation for power is the bruised knuckle. That's why it's a fight. That's why somebody can jump over a dead body.
Yes.
And you think the person is crazy, but in the real politic, that person doing it for the sheer power. And for other people see it like, this is the guy. Other people condemn it. Yeah, you got a right to condemn it, but other people say this is the guy. This is how it should be.
Yeah.
So
traditionalists.
So you see, there's always duality. There's always duality in a human social phenomenon. Some people like this thing, some people not. So there's a duality on the continuum. It's a duality. It can't be unifocal.
Anyway, guys, I think we've exhausted our time too much.
Grandson spying me.
Yeah. The man enjoy you.
Oh yeah, man. Man, bring all your friends. I can listen to my grandpa.
When a conversation is so sweet to go, it can be a little bit difficult.
But I think it was good. It was the time. At least we've gone 2 hours and 20 minutes, 21 minutes.
Oh wow, time really flew by fast.
It's worth the time. And we hope that this will not be the last time we're having Mansfield.
Yeah, I couldn't go all the way home because I live almost an hour from the Twin Cities, so I had to. Thank you. My brother lives in the area called Brooklyn Park, so I had to. I come from Minneapolis. I had to just, if I had gone home, I would have gotten there in an hour, and the traffic, Good Friday, a lot of traffic in the metro area, so I had to just, take the bypass and just got there in 30 minutes time and get set up.
Yeah. I think we need to reach out to Yasini to bring on. She has her own story to tell.
She's been here before.
Yeah, she has a show. And she invited me on her show. She and I will have in fact, 2017 or 2018, I was the guest speaker in Atlanta. She was the president of the Liberian Association in the Metro Atlanta area, so I was a guest speaker there. So she and I, we have a relationship. And my sister.
I'll bring her on.
Yeah, I was a guest speaker there at their program 2017.
Maybe next
my dad and other people founded the unique thing and the Liberian Association in Atlanta. So and they gave me a flag and stuff. So
So we'll bring her on after election.
I will probably invite you to our Independence Day celebration here in July.
Yeah, mention the ticket account. I mean, I'm a public intellectual now. People call me, oh, so I gotta fit you in my, and you know, I mean, because you think, my man, I'm on a livelihood, my man. You know, I run a think tank here. So, but my man, I just joking, man. I could come with myself. You're not supposed to make a trip to Sweden that I can see you and Casey.
Yeah.
And my other cousin, they call Linda, Mickey. You know Mickey? Mickey Linda.
Oh, Mickey, yeah.
Yeah, Mickey, my cousin from my dad's side, and Casey, my cousin from my mom's side.
Okay.
So I got 2 cousins there, and you. So you know, I'm looking forward to coming to Sweden.
I would tell Ken Mablo and Tien.
Yeah, Ken is like a childhood friend too. You know, he and my brother went to Quindi Mission.
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah.
Just yesterday I came from holiday.
Yeah, and even Tien Botu was my junior comrade at the university. When I was president of the university student government, he was my able lieutenant in soup.
Yeah, the man right now is the secretary general of our organization. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, they are hard-headed people. So if you come from the soup background, then definitely that's.
Yeah, I mean, I recruited for soup since I was in maybe 11th or 12th grade. Yeah, long time I recruited. So when I got to university, I had, you know, I did all the cadre training and all that stuff. You know, but the party has metamorphosized now. It's not like the soup where we joined. You know, then now people just to be leader of soup back in the day, you gotta be serious. Your GPA gotta be at least not less than 3.4, 3.5. You know, just not this is a good thing, but you gotta be, you know, you gotta look at your, because a lot of people there who up there you gotta compete with. So, you know, so but now, you know, people see the university as a profession, going to university as a profession rather than in academic training.
We will have you back here, Mr.
Yeah, anytime, man, anytime. You know,
we'll discuss the education for the first time. Let them click on our page so whenever we comes on.
Yeah, and I try to link it with other friends, them family people who were asking me, you know, when they saw the flyer.
Also, if you go on your page, you will see. You go on your page, you will see us, and you can share with them. But
yeah, I'll do that. I got a lot of communities. I got a lot of communities I'm part of.
Yeah, we'll bring you back here and we'll try to delve into.
Yeah, and friends too. I mean, you know, the government people having our stuff. I think August. I think so. You know, you gotta make a way here.
Definitely, August 15 to the 17 in Minneapolis. Yeah.
Then your Europe thing. What August? What? July. Okay. Yeah. July 26th era. Okay. Yes. I'll start I'll tell my wife maybe we can go for that celebration.
That would be great.
And the drinks we get advertised, that will be our drinks a lot function.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell my wife because she wants to make a trip to Europe. You know, we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary.
Oh,
you know. Yeah.
My man, I managed. Long time like that.
I mean, just say yes, man.
The Megan hustle for a 5.8 remember everything. You know, we've been practically, you know, an item for 34 years, but we've been legally married for 30 years. And, you know, we were blessed with 4 children.
Yes, man.
Yeah, but man, they always right.
I know, right?
Yeah, just say yes, man. Even if you're angry, just say yes, man. Then later on, you can vent your anger. But in the moment, just say okay, man.
I know, right?
But later on, you can, you know. Yeah.
Well,
and
guys,
secret.
for those of you who are watching us for the first time, just like our page. Whenever we come on, you will be notified right away, and then you can join us. And we want to say thank you to you for the first time and make this place your home. And for those of you who are always here, without you, we cannot be here, and without us, we cannot be here because if we're not here, you're not just sitting and look at your screen. Okay, and so while we are here, you're looking at us, and we're talking, but we're not talking crazy to you. Somebody to talk today, I know you'll learn a lot of things, especially our life experience. The 4 of us here will come from way back. Now look at my little brother. Just look at the last person on the show. My little brother, Ali man. He knows somebody too talking. Yeah. So I just imagine when he was born, you know, we have gone how we like in life already. But these are serious things we're talking. Life today is the same. But we want to say thank you very much.
Linford, you got somebody want to call in.
Oh, yeah. People recognize my friend Stephen McGill. He's from
Stephen McGill. Okay, Stephen, welcome.
Steve wants to call in.
Yeah.
Stephen, okay, well, let me give you the number. Steve, just look at the dashboard. I call this number +47, then 9945. Oh, wait, 99450882.
Steve, you can call my number and then I can put you on this. I can put you on.
Yeah, okay, you can call any of the numbers. It's a WhatsApp number, so you don't need to worry. +47 99450. I get question mark there, but it's +47.
Yeah, +47 instead of question mark. Yeah.
Yeah, don't put question mark. Well, guys, while we're waiting for the call from Steve, okay,
Steve is on, so he just called.
Yeah, somebody called. I think I wonder that him.
No, he called now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, loud and clear, Steve.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I'm impressed. Mr. Duopu, you don't know me in person, but I've been one of your followers. I know you from Simiri School. I know a lot of people from Simiri School. Koto is my big sister. And Francis being my childhood friend, like way back in the day from my sister, Viola McGill. And putting all of the high school things, just talking about the politics with soup, the Nima Kante, issue with tribalism and all of that. I mean, we as Liberian, we as the generation today should look at what is playing. Because for me, when I sit back, I look at my life, I've lived for 52 years. I'm going to be 52 in September. So I just know that within 52 years from 1973 to now, my life hasn't changed anyway. And part of the issue in Liberia, the generation before us, we know they made a lot of mistakes, a lot of blunder, but this current generation have to change this paradigm and change the trajectory and change the status quo for the fact that we got people coming after us for our legacy, what we want to remember Liberia for. I mean, I know a lot of people in Sweden that have been to Sweden, work Sweden. Recently, I was at the UN and in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. I think we need to also push for our diaspora leaders, like the Yula people and all of the different things, knowing that all of the different issues from Liberia, Genesis in the Yula and in the Americas, going back to Liberia, for the power that we have, we need to connect and get the missing pieces back together as one Liberia for all. Yeah. I want to say thank you for the show.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Mansfield, you want to add to what he just said so we can?
Yeah, I mean, Steve is right. We got so much power, in terms of even the remittances we send. That's power. That's something that has really spurred the economy of Liberia, I mean, we send billions of dollars. If we look at, the history of remittances, Western Union, all the different, apps that we use to send money to Liberia. If you put our money together, man, you're talking about billions and billions of dollars we send, since the war. I mean, especially since the war, people have been sending money home. And that has been a strong portion of the economy. Sending money to your relatives, friends, family, making contribution to other causes and stuff. So we have so much power in the diaspora. I'm sure it was part of the flyer, maybe we didn't touch on it, the power of the diaspora community. And what are we doing with that power? Your money is a power. Yeah. It's one of the biggest sources of power, money. We have not really channeled that money in a real collective sense, in a real collective way to harness that monetary power to do something really substantial. Because like I said earlier, our economy is controlled by a mercantilist class. A lot of people have written about that. Liberia, if you read Claude Ake, in the political economy of Africa, if you read Clover et al., the Global Art Development, is survey of Liberian economy. That book written in 1966, when Amos graduated from the University of Liberia. And that book is still instructive today. It delved in Liberia's geopolitical relevance and also the internal contradiction. Liberia was the trailblazer for global affairs, especially from Africa. We led the independence movement. We led the fight in the UN, recognizing stateless peoples, You know? So but today now we in those days, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, after the Second World War, we experienced exponential growth in terms of GDP without the attending development in terms of roads, hospitals, other social amenities. No, because the state has always been used as a piggy bank by the political class. You know? And that political class is the lumpen bourgeoisie class. They're not a bourgeoisie class. They're a lumpen bourgeoisie class. And they extract from the tears, blood, and sweat from the proletariat. You know, Marx talk about lumpen bourgeoisie. They are very dangerous in any class warfare, any class struggle. Because all they do is to script to the bare bones. They are maximalists. So the people who get in power are mostly lumpen bourgeoisies. They are not bourgeoisie. They don't have the means and factor of production. They don't have machineries. They don't create jobs. The only thing they do is to extract from the state. The state is the piggy bank, historically. So you see, you have this kind of exponential growth. You don't have development. You don't have road connectivity. The major road, the Tubman Boulevard, the only road we had of any value. And look at it today. It has gotten so shrink. It's almost like a one-lane road. We got to be visionary. We got to think big. We got to hire people for our public administration who are big thinkers. We need big thinkers, people who will think about things, who will sit in rooms, who will carve the future of the country, who will envision the country's future 40, 50, 60, 100 years from now. But we don't have the big thinkers. All we have is narrow-mindedness, this small thing. So this small Ralphie road, everybody jumping in the air. Whoa, look at other highways in go to Dakar. Go to Kigali. You see super highway, you see exit ramp. The only exit ramp getting like brother, I think going to Hotel Africa where people have built the country has not developed. The last 40 years were more advanced than today, which is counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You know, the last 40, 50 years were more advanced than today. Broad Street was clear. You see the picture from the days of old. But our political elites have always failed in the social contract.
What baffles me a lot
they have
is
always failed the people. The people have always given their all in their social contract. But the political elite, their whole notion about statecraft is the amassment of ill-gotten wealth. And they collude with the mercantilist class. And a lot of political economists are written a lot and extensively about Liberia's political economy, you know? So, I mean, we have a daunting task. You know, we need leaders who can dream, not just dream, but practicalize their dream and to bring other people in the fold. Because we get a notion that when somebody becomes president, that person is the Lord and gospel. No, that's what we like that. We have this imperial presidency where everything revolves around this president. And the power is so centralized.
Yeah.
You know, I work at the Governance Commission. We wrote a lot of policy on decentralization. And, you know, I would talk about power should be dispersed from the center to the periphery. Local government administration. That's the bedrock of any democratic system. Local government, local people making local decisions.
Okay, guys, it seems as though the show will not close.
You know? So I'm sorry if my thing came in now, it can just be flowing now, you know, I mean, as soon as I studied for almost 30 years that it's just ingrained in, so I'm espousing it just like second nature. But I want to thank all of you for the invitation. And
you are not the cause.
Don't go yet. Don't go yet. Don't go yet.
We have Yasini Pay. First she told me she was not too willing to come now, but now I think something tells her. So Yasini, welcome.
Thank you, Brother Linford. Hello, everyone on the platform. Brother Mansfield, you're teasing us, right? So although you're supposed to be going when you bring all of these things, for some of us who grew up maybe in the last 50 years and know where Liberia was, because I always tell people the mirror has two faces. The growth without development. Like you talked about, and I'm brought into this place, right? About the last 10 years, going back and forth to Liberia, Robert Free Highway, they dig it, one government come, they spend millions of dollars, it does not finish. car drop in a hole. The next government come, they dig it again, they share the money. We need, and I'm agreeing to what you said, we need people with vision. We don't need consumers, okay? We need producers. We don't need parasites, okay? We need producers. We need innovators. We need people who can say, this is my vision of Liberia. Not just talk in codes, all right? We talked earlier about the political climate. People say what they want to say. Yes. Adam Hiller said the same thing. Gable said the same thing. Who was the chief propagandist for Hitler? I mean Hitler. Okay. The same way. But guess what? When John McCain was running, because he was a man of character, a man of service, a man who had vision. When somebody can say Obama is a terrorist, Obama is this, he said no. He said he's a fireman. We just have, I think I can do a better job than him. We just have a different belief system.
Exactly.
Okay? So, especially for where we've traveled as a nation, okay? We need a leader that will bridge. We need a leader that will create. Okay? Most of these things is happening because we are all on the same table, fighting over the same crumbs. While the people who are supposed to be creating the bread, okay, or creating an avenue so all of us can create the bread, as still is. I'm saying when you talk about the Fulanese, when you talk about the Lebanese, and that's when I started writing. When I was growing up, the story I'm told, my great uncle was taken out of Liberia because they could not pay in our own town on our own land because they could not pay her tax. The people call it flutter, a slave for Fernando. Okay? I remember one of my great uncles after told, they say they told, and my mom was telling us the story, because my uncle told us the story, where they have to tow a car, okay, for the superintendent at the time, because there was no road, so he can have a car. All right? So that just as you were speaking, I just wanted to come and add my voice. We need to have this conversation. We need to paint the picture of Liberia, the few elite or the bourgeoisies that you're talking about or want to be. Because we're talking about the bourgeoisie.
The lumpen bourgeoisies.
Yeah, okay. Like the ones that were in the United States or Georgia, where I reside, that we call it a Bourbon. Okay, no Bourbon group. They were already innovators. There were people who have made money. There were people who have farms. There were people who were creators. Okay, so they brought in the resources and they kind of just took over the system in that way, but they use what they already have. But what we have in Liberia, they didn't have anything. So they were still paying, most of the government buildings are over in Liberia that we're still paying for that being. They're saying 1847, but that's the big thing that we can say. Those were built by the people that were there with our own country money, and we're still paying to their children. All right? So for us to write this ship, we will need an innovator, a visionary that will do what and we have to be intentional. Okay? And you're talking about civic, the people learning. When we were going to school, even those of us who walk barefooted to school, civic was the thing. You have to understand why you do what you do, how government or how people from all other world function. We don't have that. Most of us people are surviving and where they are. They're in the state of where they are. So you treat look at the same people that went out, they voted for these people. They've been gone for 1 year. Now they're coming back and throwing money at you and you're throwing a right screen at. So we're in trouble, but I just wanted to come here and add my voice and say thank you for the conversation. For the great conversation. Anytime you talk about Liberia, it touched my heart. I live and breathe Liberia. Although I don't like I've been in this country. But thank you for the conversation. And I look forward to conversation with you on our platform too. Okay? You have a good day. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Destiny, this is a lady that's very passionate about Liberia because sometimes every day I see this lady online. Even me, I don't have that much energy. I see her online and she's talking about Liberia. She's talking. But there will come time when people will know the importance of what we do here. They will say, "Oh yeah, people used to talk this thing, but we thought, we we thought they were joking or they were just making some fun. But we hope history will record all of these things. And the good thing is that everything we do here is recorded. It will remain on throughout as the internet will exist. So let me say thank you to Mansfield, Francis, and Paul. All of us here. I think we've done a great job tonight. We can pat ourselves on the shoulders and say, thank you to our viewers. I don't know if anybody got anything to say finally, but for me, I want to say thank you. That's all I can say.
But let me say something before Mansfield close up. It's an open invitation to dive in about bourgeoisie, because when you're talking, it remind me of my history class in Russia.
Bourgeoisie.
Yeah, so that's we need to go in depth, because most people don't know we have it in. So, but there's an open invitation to you who need to look at Liberia in the 70, 80 before the war, to give people that kind of picture, because how come Liberia was developed then and now Liberia deep progressing? So we need to talk about that.
Okay, a comparative analysis, in terms of the contrasting the 80s towards the current situation, the current status. That'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting conversation.
That's an open invitation. Probably
anytime you get ready, let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
But I know it's anything you wanted to leave with or leave viewers, or is there anything, Mr. Duopu? I would say call him Mr. and Mansfield intermittently.
Yeah, like I said, I want to thank three of you for the invitation, especially my friend Francis, who was in real up-to-date communication with me, back and forth. He kind of really impressed on me that I had to come, which of course I felt the need to, that I could at least expand my own network, into Europe. I mean, a very important continent. I mean, so yeah, I want to thank three of you for the invitation, really, and to the viewers and the people who called in. I want to thank them for chiming in. And how the discourse should be, if you have views that run contrary to the idiosyncratic disposition of other people, you gotta accept, competing views, and let us stronger views stand up. What the polemics is about, what the discourse is about. We start engaging the discourse. We should be, open to polemical viewpoints. It helps us to learn from other people, to appreciate where they come from, because everybody has a story. Everybody comes from somewhere of reference. They can make reference to some things in their lives, and that we share about our personal lives, and we can make sense of some of those things that we share. You say, wow, you mean all these things happen to you, your parents, your grandparents, even in your personal life. Some of us will be in the struggle since infancy. My dad was the president of the Liberian Association in the Americas in the 70s. Your Minister of Labor, first Secretary General of the NPFL. Well, those are part of my family's history. Those are things that kind of inform my thinking, about how I view things, about how I carry on my life, and how I do my politics. You make reference to some of those things. Some of those things, although they are things that you suffered, well, yeah, suffering, the Bible talks about long suffering. Jesus, engaged in long suffering for our redemption. Those are key virtues, that we have to ingratiate in our own lives. Long suffering is a virtue. Long suffering doesn't mean that you should suffer all your life. Oh, no. It means your fortitude to bear some of the, the pitfalls in life, and to put yourself up. Because I would have been some young man who would have given up. After my parents' death, I would have just consigned myself to maybe engaging into things that would not bring honor to them. And a lot of people call me, oh man, come, we got money for you, say power, kill, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm not going to sell my grief. I can say any other thing, but not my grief. I will go through the struggle. I'll go to the university. I'll walk from Bonneville Road, come fight for my wife, myself. We just love us that time. She's smaller than me, so she'll pass through the window with kind of pull her through the window and she sit on my lap. You know, so now my misbehaving, she can just remind me, hey, you know, my man. I beg you, man. You know, she can just tap my back, my man. Don't misbehave. Hey, you know. Other thing, you know, your history, a personal philosophy too, you know, is important. How you develop your personal philosophy about life. Everybody needs to develop a personal philosophy. There are some things that are core to me. I can be very conservative in some aspect. I can be very centrist. And I can sometimes be liberal. You know, it's a continuum. You know, you can't be kind of unifocal and be dogmatic. You can be a pragmatist, you know, as you do your life, your business, your profession, even your politics. You can be a pragmatist. You can also entertain other people whose views are more superior than yours. And what we lack in our country, when you have a superior view, man, people ostracize you. You don't belong. Even in our generation. You know, I've been to Liberia for work a couple of times, you know, friends, oh, you know, man, you get this high profile name. I said, no, I do everything based on my own bootstrap. I don't go running on my tailcoat. No. Everything I earn, everything I know it for myself. So when you go, you know, even your people who you are on the Palawa hut back in the days, my man, doing all the battle cry and stuff. They're the worst people even deal with. They're the people who will push you aside because they want new guys who they don't have any reference point with, and, you know, to hold their bags. Some of the Mansfield Duopu will never do for no man. Because I don't want any man to do it for me. To hold your bags and go to their homes and on the side, be on the Palawa hall waiting while they're taking. I live in a $400,000 house. Why would I go sit down on somebody's Palawa hall to do anything? I got my children. I got 4 children, 3 of them. I'm out of 2 of them out of college. 1 go to school in New York. 1. I'm not rich, but I done good for myself and my children. I give them a leg up in life. I came in that condo just $20. But I'm not rich, but I'm all right. You know, my wife went to graduate school. I went to graduate school here, one of the best universities in the U.S., the Humphrey School of Public Policy. I was put from all over the world. I topped my class. I was in the high percentile. But all the thing, it just speaks to our culture, you know, that you not live for you being the journalism thing for all these years. You know? But you go to now, people will say, my man, you're not the kind of guy I want. But you want somebody who will go on the radio, who will not even know their subject verb, who will not even know how to present a small, you know, a news or any feature. You being the thing, reporting from the rural Liberia, you know how it is to go gather news, to interview people, to do your story, to bring your stuff to, you know, your editors and stuff. You're not doing it now. Everybody's a journalist in the country when you get cell phone. And somebody talking, you say, what? That person's English person speaking? And you know, now that we're looking down anybody, but people need to develop themselves. Individually and as a country, we need to develop ourselves. We need to be optimum. Our neighbors, the world is not waiting for us. You know, that complacency that somebody will do it for us. Everybody now looking inward. The whole usage thing will come back. Maybe we can discuss the whole usage, you know, the aid suspension, all that stuff. Everybody panicking. Whereas in your legislature, you get millions of dollars per siphoning. Then you're crying for usage 56 million. Yeah. A country almost 175 years old, man. You've not gotten a budget that has reached 1 billion. The school district of Minneapolis is almost $2 billion budget in a country. So if you compare Liberia and Minneapolis school district, they're on the same parity. You know, so that how even multinational corporations are more powerful than nation states.
Yeah,
you know, come to think about it. The school district of Minneapolis, not even the wealthiest school district where I live in the suburb, where you're talking about, you know, real, you know, the inner city now, the suburban schools, where their budget then $2-3 billion, a country of 5 million people that have been existing for 175 years, cannot raise a $1 billion budget. Is that a country? No, it's a fiefdom. You know, it's a fiefdom. And you know, the neo-mercantilist class, the Lebanese alone, they combine their assets, their resources, and when I bring government budget.
Absolutely.
You know, the mercantilist class, the Fuller guy will bring their money together. It's not small money. It can buy that whole murder. And now they're acquiring properties, but they're not citizens. They say they can be citizens, but they're acquiring the best, real estate in the heart of the town, pushing people back to the periphery, creating the big high-rise building, and all that money, where it comes from? For our national budget. People will siphon the money, get it there, do a business. I get my call there, you're my business partner. I got you waiting for you to be fired on 2 o'clock when Linford go reading that news. When they're firing you, he waiting who the new minister, who the new deputy minister. I want to know that. But I think come to the store, but come to the bossing men not yet. Bossing men not yet. You finish. So that's how our history has been. But we can go through this, for another time, talk about the class struggle, like bro. Right now, it's not about tribalism. You're like, bro, it's about class warfare. No, because people from different tribes colluding, colluding to loot the state. They don't crumple all Manigopo or Giopo coming together. People from different tribes, Creole guy and Crew guy and Manigo guy and Pele guy meet. Budget, they're facing away. So that is a tribe in itself. Yeah, it's a financial tribe. It's a kleptocratic tribe. It's a kleptocracy that we have in Liberia. It's a kleptocracy. The rulership of thieves. It's a rulership of thieves for colluding with each other from different tribes. We have to they may become a Perepo, Lomapo, Gizipo, so the Bennett. No. Right now it's about class struggle. The lumpen bourgeoisie versus the proletariat. And that serious tension within the class, that's widening of the gap that we talk about, that has widened so much that somebody can live in your neighborhood, you get 40K generator while the rest of the people in darkness, you care. Air condition beating your children and back while they're doing a lesson, while the other people then come on here. They will call shaman light. They come on a shaman light to do a little small math. And the door backing out there. Like, who you get elected, boy? You get elected, man.
We'll come back. Amanda, can't continue, Francis. Mansfield will come back. In fact, we'll give you open invitation to be a panelist on the show whenever you have the time. We need.
I gotta just share my time with other platforms.
Yeah, we need wealth of experience and wealth of knowledge. Because somebody say it all boils down to education. And education is not only going and sitting down in the four corners of the room there and looking at what the teacher is writing on the blackboard.
No.
Education extends to every aspect of life.
Every aspect of your human development.
You even get more education from outside than in the classroom.
Yeah, than the formal settings.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you very much. And it was great. We'll come back to talk about this. The actual bread and butter issue, what is affecting Liberia, like you just mentioned, that it is not only tribalism, but now it becomes a kleptocratic system where a group of wolves come together and design strategies how to get rich while the others remain poor.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And Paul and Francis, I want to say thank you guys. And Paul, I think we'll let you take us on, if it is allowed, take us on with that promo. That advertisement about the vodka once more, and then we can call it a day. So, Mr. Mansfield, Duopu.
Okay, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, buddy.
We appreciate you.
Thank you for coming, man. We'll catch up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Linford is there. My mouse is frozen. It's at the end of the video.
Okay, let me see if I can get it quick. But Francis, it was good. Your effort to get Mr. Duopu here was very praiseworthy, and we hope that we can have him back again. In fact, like I said, he will always come to us whenever he has the time. Let me see if I can find it. No. But for those of you joining us for the first time again, let me say this is the Bottom Line Liberia discussions. You are mostly welcome every Tuesday and Friday for us to do more talking and listening. Okay, so we take you with this piece of information.
Di Lorenzo, G Grace. Hems Vocal, Liberia number one vocal. Liberia number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Ham's Vodka, Ham's Honey, Ham's Bitter, and Ham's Original Vodka. Ham's Vodka has no hangover. That's why they say Papa drink Mama happy. Ham's Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Ham's Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Hans Vodka or www.hansvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hans North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hans Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hans Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I tell you in my core, in my blood. Every time when I stay on the block, everybody knows it. We are spot. And forgot that number one. Oh, from Liberia all around. In supermarket store and everywhere. And forgot that number one.
Boy.
If we're pregnant, speak up.
Oh, sexy. Only records, Now you bad liquor on, I tell what you want me to, don't can show yourself.